for life.
Amen. But all is not well with Ghanaians when it comes to illegal mining in this
Hmm.
country, and it is one of the topmost major issue that we're dealing with now. Tell us what has really transpired since you came in connection with Forest Commission when it comes to these illegal mining. Before we even come to what really transpired at Mankranso.
Thank you so much, Kojo. I'll be glad. If I wish, I pray I get even 5 minutes or less to elaborate on this.
Sure,
In the
sure.
first place, you would agree with me, as well as many of our cherished listeners, that in the past 8 or 9 years or so, galamsey actually assumed a greater proportion of, it assumed some magnitude of worry in the Ghanaian, because the level of engagement in that enterprise became very worrying. Our water bodies became so compromised, and our water companies had to shut down some of their plants, and many diseases, and it affected aquatic life. It has destroyed crop yield. Our cocoa production has gone down, amongst other things. Yes, at the time, many Ghanaians were very worried, and they even called for a state of emergency to be declared by President Nana Dankwah Akufo-Addo. And the reason they called for that was because at the time, 9 of our forest reserves were under siege and were classified as red zones. And that was at the time also, don't forget, 22nd of November, when they passed that ludicrous LI 2462, which allowed people to go into forest reserves and mine. That was also at the time when they were issuing mining licenses or permits like confetti. They were just issuing that to their friends and cronies. And so the Ghanaian was very worried. But when the new regime took over, His Excellency President Mahama immediately declared that there should be a seizure to the issuance of mining licenses in order for us to properly assess the ones that were already in the system to see if they meet the exact criteria. And so that alone in itself was good faith to demonstrate to Ghanaians that there's a president who has come and decided not to issue any new licenses, but rather go back into checking all what was issued. For instance, in the early hours or early days of January alone, after the erstwhile administration lost power, there were still over hundreds of licenses that were issued that need to be queried. Then, aside from a seizure to the issuance of licenses, he also demonstrated the political will to enforce our laws in order to make sure that it serves as a deterrent. And so, if you recall, I myself was part of a team that went to Samaboy, where we undertook an exercise involving Akonta mining and some Chinese and many others. There were many of such. And then also was the introduction of NIMOS, National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. Then again also was the introduction of the Blue Water Guards to make sure that they aid the processes in safeguarding our water bodies to prevent people from mining on our water bodies. As if that was not enough also, the able Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, also kicked in motion a letter to the Attorney General to repeal or revoke the LI 2461. And so if a government is doing all these things, then most importantly, again, in addition to the two, is that the 9 red zones were reclaimed by government through the efforts of the task force. And therefore, it turned from red to green. And so if there were no new licenses to be issued anymore, if the LI 2462 was going to be repealed, and then also the red zones in the red forest zones were turned green, definitely there was no need for a state of emergency again to be declared, because these 3 critical issues were the major things affecting the illegal mining. Then the introduction of the NIMOS, the Blue Water Guard, and other activities, and the further consultation with our traditional authorities, because they matter most. And our land tenure system, our traditional authorities wield a lot of power, and if we continue to engage them very well, it means that they will play a major role and the problems will be half solved. Then President Mahama and the minister also advised that we engage more with the media in order for them to be updated with what we're doing. In subsequent days or weeks, you may even be seeing what we call the Forest TV in order to make sure we update you always on what is happening. Then, so we have both short, medium, and long-term approaches. We're even looking at how to draft a proposal to the Minister of Education through the Ghana Education Service so that we see how we can add something there in our curriculum. The purpose of education is to transform society, so that we can even have forest clubs in the most critical forest zones in our country. We can even look at debate, quiz, competitions, etc., related to forest and our environment. When you and I were young and we used to watch Captain Planet, we thought it was just an action movie.
Exactly.
But it was really all about the environment, about the pollution. So we need to bring back all of this so that it is imbibing a certain culture of environmental protection and sustainability in our younger ones, so they grow with it, and that is the long term. But there are other activities we need to, and we will indeed technology, very sophisticated technology soon, that is to enable us also nip this in the bud. So these are many activities. We're looking forward to even engaging YEA, the CEO Malik Basintale, to see which other avenues we can explore in order to get more guards to protect our forests. But the other important thing about what we are doing now is that when the 9 months men and women move to the fields to destroy these mining camps, illegal mining camps, we don't just abandon that. After that, we want to station men over there. In the past, because we do not station men there, when we leave after a day or two, the people also return again. And I don't know if you recall, there was a video of a gentleman whose champagne was bent. He was bare-chested. He ran to the site and said, "Hey, in local palace, Mahama pa, and Jaban yetuma say ubeba be say me machine, and yes, we machine the message of fufro." That tells you that we need to enforce strongly education. Some of these people, or many of these people, embark on this enterprise without knowing the environmental impact and the consequences of their act out of illiteracy. So there's a need for us to embark on thorough education and also law enforcement so that when culprits are apprehended, they are dealt with according to law. For the first time in the history of Ghana, you in the media have heard that we have a lot of excavators seized at the port, to the extent that the port is congested and we have to move some to military barracks. That is because President Mahama and the sector minister are enforcing the laws and making sure that we control these things. In the past, all these machines would have just been given the green light to move through. But we want to make sure we put trackers on them so they can be geofenced as well, to ensure that we properly monitor what any earth-moving equipment is doing at what place, at what time.
So Elikem, I mean, this is fantastic delivery. I mean, short-term, long-term, to solve our illegal mining issues. I mean, the things that you poured down this morning tells us that there's been enough, on grounds that indeed what President said, that state of emergency will be the last resort, indeed is working. But why would you, what do you think? Why would we probably, still hear and continue to hear the pressure coming from Catholics, coming from the CSOs to still see us, or see government initiate the last resort? Why would it be if all these long-term, short-terms are there?
Well, I think a lot of reasons may account for that. Some, if not many, of these people, the people who are shouting state of emergency, fail to appreciate the context of the declaration of a state of emergency. And they actually are failing to appreciate also the excesses of a state of emergency. When a state of emergency is declared, for instance, what it means is that you are putting ice on your democratic credentials. You are putting ice on freedoms. You are putting ice on human rights, because the military will take full force and there will be some actions taken, and some of these same people will be the ones who will be calling out the president and the regime for being iron-fisted or taking things to. And you see, we do not want to get there. That is why the president said that is the last resort. Why do we want to resort to the last resort when we have not exhausted the numerous programs I have outlined to you? Like our land tenure system, we know the power our traditional authorities wield. Continuous engagement with them and education, advocacy, using the media. In fact, you in particular, Kojo, you in the media, we must always commend you. Look at the lives of Erastus Asare Dankwah. And the fact that you are even granting an interview on this again today tells the relevance of the media. So we even need the media. If you can even engage 5 minutes each day or every morning, afternoon, and evening to just talk about environmental degradation, the impact of galamsey, etc., we will be making headway. But so for the people who are calling for the state of emergency, some are either just saying it because that is becoming a balance by some other people. But some also feel, and out of genuine concern, that our water bodies have become so polluted. And this happened over a period of 8 years. And we should know that it doesn't take 8 months to correct an error that lasted a period of 8 years. It will take some time, but significantly, we will rather need to monitor the activities of government to see if indeed there's the commitment to make sure that we nip this in the bud. And so it is the reason, and I know that some people also feel they want to know what it looks like when a state of emergency is declared. And the excesses of that will not be. Look, this is not to by far go the extent, but let me give you a typical example.
Okay.
We are all aware we are in the Ashanti region, we are mourning the Asante Hima. There will be some kind of curfew imposed from 5 p.m. today.
Sure.
That is the right of people being taken away from them. If anybody has any business to do or anything meaningful to do today after 5 p.m., that right is being curtailed. That is the implication of it. And it's been made known that anybody found out will be dealt with in ways that cannot be even described yet. That is it. And that is a similar thing people are looking for. So we are not in a military regime. Yes, we are in a democracy, but the Constitution allows for the president to do so. But he has made it clear, and for the goodwill he still enjoys from the good people of Ghana who voted for him, I want to only play with the CSOs and the many others who have put in their voice. We understand their concerns because the stability of the water is their concern, the heavy metals in it are their concern, our health is their concern, the health of the future generations is their concern. But they need to understand that the president has full grip over what is happening. And this is the president who has an appreciation for what is happening and on top of issues. So we are addressing this matter head on. The state agency, security agencies are all involved. Other stakeholders such as the Forestry Commission, the Lands Commission, the Minerals Commission, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources itself, and many others are all very much involved. In fact, it is instructive to tell you today that on the NIMOS platform, we have some of the CSOs represented there, like Dr. Ken Ashkibe and Co., who also constantly monitor activities of NIMOS. And if you are aware, as you said in your earlier statement, in Mankranso district, for instance, some exercise was carried out yesterday. While that was ongoing, another was also going on concurrently in the Anyafutu Forest Reserve of the Inkawe Forest District in Ashanti region. So, and today also there will be some going on. It will be the same thing tomorrow as well too. Just that this information is on need-to-know basis.
Sure.
But trust that before close of day, you will get information further on some other places that will be going on. We are making sure that we revisit every place where we are aware of illegal mining going on.
Okay. Now tell us, what really happened at Mankranso with the NIMOS? I mean, how did it go?
Well, I don't want to say it was a showdown, but I mean, these are illegal miners holding illegal camps and engaging in these criminal enterprise, causing environmental degradation to our dear land, Ghana. And these are people who are depriving us of what is due us. In fact, when illegal miners engage in illegality, what it means is that royalties that is due our traditional authorities is even denied them. And therefore, it should be an area of concern to all of us. Development which should come to the community also is denied them. So NIMOS actually is deploying men and women, and I must thank the CDS the military hierarchy, all for the corporation, and the men and women who have decided to offer themselves on this mission. Many more are being trained, many more are being deployed in the subsequent days. And all I can tell you is that we are visiting all these locations, having had tip-offs and monitored some. The moment we get any of such, we move in. NIMOS is doing all that, Kenoboa, and they move in to make sure that they destroy all those illegal camps and confiscate all that needs to be confiscated. If you recall, not long ago, the Minister of Agri, Honorable Eric Opoku,
yes,
had to donate over 900 water pumping machines to our local farmers. These were all machines that were seized by NIMOS during their operations. And as I speak with you, almost another 250 has already been seized already.
Elikam, tell us. I'm sure when the move is done on these illegal galamseyers, there are things that they say. There are things they tell either the security or the officials that come. What are some of the things that they give? Because for we hear that they only say, one of the major things that they say is that we don't have jobs. Therefore, what do you expect us to do? How do we feed our people? We'll have to get into the space to do what we have to do. Did you hear some of these things? And what are the solutions?
It is very true. I mean, those who say that are in the minority, but those who are concerned about the environment, about the drinking water, are in the majority, who even applaud government for coming to their aid by stopping the illegal miners. But this is not to rule out the concern that all those engaged in this activity are matters of survival. And it is all because of the unemployment of the teeming youth. And therefore, government is trying to see how best can roll out programs that can give them alternative livelihoods. It is in line with these that we actually launched a program that I forgot to mention also, the RCOMSDEP, which is headed by Engineer Pedro, Responsible Community Mining and Skills Development Program. This is aimed at making sure that the responsible corporate mining and skills development program. This is aimed at bringing our small-scale miners together so they can engage in the activity as corporate groups. Mind you, President Mahama is not against small-scale mining. He frowns on illegal and irresponsible mining, especially on our water bodies in our forest reserves and or close to the water bodies. And so that is a major concern. But it is also admitted that these people are engaged in an enterprise where they make maybe 1,000 cedis a day, 2,000 cedis a week, or 5,000. And now you want to prefer or suggest an alternative livelihood to them where they would have to earn maybe 1,000 or that 2,000 over a period of a month. It is a difficult situation, but it is a hard choice we have to make, considering the fact that there's Mother Ghana we need to actually protect. There's Mother Ghana that we all are for. And so in Ewe, we have something we say in our national anthem, we say, our beloved motherland. And so if that is our beloved motherland, there are some sacrifices we also have to make. And so these groups of people need to be brought together, put under one umbrella, then they can engage in the cooperative mining and skills development. So this is aimed at training many of them to also find other avenues. You recall there were some other programs by a sister station where some of the people who once engaged in these activities found themselves in the university and have decided to make themselves ambassadors for anti-galamsey. Exactly. So these and many more. It is not going to be an easy task, but we would have to do it anyway for the sake of the future.
Okay, thank you. We'll end here, and I think we'll come back to you to really talk about Forestry Commission in itself and exactly what is being done to keep our forest reserves and other matters. That will be another matter for us to discuss. But trust me, I'm sitting here and I'm seeing things from afar. And I want to congratulate you for doing all the things that you're doing. You're really doing a great job. But we're going to come back to do that assessment to see how things have gone when it comes to Forest Commission in itself. Our woods, cutting of illegal trees and all that. I mean, it's another whole matter.
Just a quick one. Ghana is the first country in Africa to be issuing what we call the FLECT license, Forest Law Enforcement and Governance Trade.
Okay.
What this means, and we are the second in the world to also be issuing the FLECT license.
Okay.
And being first in Africa is a prestigious achievement. This started as far back as 2009 under His Excellency the late President Mills. What it means is that to trade with Europe or the European Union, you must sign on to FLECT. What FLECT means is that every timber that you are shipping to Europe must be traced to a particular compartment, so that when they are tracing, they can tell that this is not an illegal log, it has been cut from the right source. And so that, some of the car manufacturers, for instance, even use wood for their interior designs.
Exactly.
So that maybe Jaguar does not manufacture a car, and somebody from Shridiem goes to take Jaguar to court, that the wood that you used to design the interior of your car was stolen from my compartment, and I'm taking you to court. So FLECT means that we can now trace every timber that is sold out in Europe. And so we are the first in Africa to do so. The first consignment has been shipped already, and when it arrives even in Europe, a team from Forestry Commission and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, all kudos to Honorable Emmanuel Amakofibua, who is doubling as Environment Minister as well.
Yes.
We will be going there to also have that momentous ceremony celebrated.
Wow.
So there's a lot more we'll talk about. I'll find time.
Definitely. I'll wait for that, and we're going to do that. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, so that is Deputy CEO of a Forest Commission, Elikem Kotoko, and AD and Komo FA operations course so NIMOS operations course so Mankranso in the Ashanti region and AD and Komo. So clearly, action is being done. Clearly. And Niema Koso Ebma illegal galamsey for no more Tom we cry. And I think what Elikem Kotoko Ekatre and then if there's anything to go by, that it means that things are being done a quine swa. Almost say a binding force a bit to me akoye ama sa state of emergency no enya dia a bit to me abaswo and into no yen hwe nim en hwe hawa niema ACL ko or some boy ko so say operations back home you kura be so in any chine ya wo important baby wa Ashanti region hono mo a omo hwe so betumi akabe ni na bibia tumi akoye adeba kon kan ya esan tom akoma so ye has to do with ye school ene nkwada no hawa ye be start ahyase achromo sa niema we nyina se fata se achromo illegal galamsey ne afeso niema nsem fata ena na oma mfatu bi se ye nyina ne esusa no ne ye hwe Captain Planet no omo ebo your friend is say environment ho ban na yenim say bia ye hwe cartoons keke na mom no na eyade a full say koyie pa. I think say GBC ene mama kanyina no if they can pick up that copyright Captain Planet ni biwa, we should be showing it na man kwala no enhwe because yenum de ehwe bi kwame ne omama kanyina na omo save environment no. I think we should start watching some of these things na face yemwana creatives for no so modern kakra na momra with a lot of cartoons, a lot of these short skits na improve the your friend is education when it comes to your friend is saying illegal galamsey and hunsunsanso one especially the bebanom. And again I think say aban so me boko say anka obetumi atwa sika bi so ato ho na odiama anasa wasamble the best of directors when it comes to memoir in terms of film and a movie. Get on nyina say ye kuma wood say your friend is saying nkranfo de ne hwanhwanfo de nyina no. I think we should gather them na pesika pudo bi na famomo for them to have one of the best friend is movies and as a film kire insunsanso desa illegal galamsey eba na ye nyina yenkohwe bi na ye nyina yehu kwan ye befa so ebetumi ama sade we etumi etwa enti say your friend is saying NFE for ATM the movie industry for no ATM kuma wood for ne Gollywood for ne mama kanyina no you need to write a proposal to president na yenkoje say sika. If I hear tomorrow say the $2 million crown my film industry for say omunye one of the best movies you to even import one of the best directors when it comes to movies or Hollywood crowd to come and direct crana. I think Sebeboa or minor any yɛn for us to get a proper way, a channeler yɛbɛtumi ɛde aboa amasa illegal galamsey no kɔna ɛkɔ so no ɛmmoa mekae sɛ movie baako bi baeɛ sɛ the Deadly Voyage. I remember that particular movie and ɛfa Stoneway ho. I think in the movie we had people like David Dontor and all those people almost acting yes movie no, and I think that it served a good I think Anna
yeah, Julius Asante.
Julius Asante yebi it's abebrese
and ensure
yes yes exactly
yeah Daninati
munyina
yebi Dontor
exactly
Omar Ebie from America on a need to pack movie Juice he played the main role in Kingsley Fosu.
Yes, Kingsley Fosu.
Yes. I remember. Yes, and
I think that we should go there. I think that the nation should really, sit down to just get us some fund to really, come up with something like that. Because you see, the book has any discussion when it comes to Angola, right? And I think Rwanda, the issue of the diamond, Sierra Leone, where they were trying to let us understand what really transpired with these diamond issues and all that. Assistant and near maybe ever honor. So on make sure. It's something that we should be doing.
You know, prime time our Ghana. So that some penny take action.
Exactly.
People understand it. The Bia make us say, Tamana America for person invade Iraq and Afghanistan after the 9/11. Some people were not happy. Say Nkurabewu, innocent soul ebewu. So the Americans needed to do that. So prime time, prime timer, and you made 6 to 10 p.m.
Yes,
I call for Asia TV panel. That was the time they started showing
some of these.
Call for Mako Bombe Dar es Salaam. Yako Bombe American embassy waha. Yakwesi 9/11. It would TV where there's automatically a cycle. It is say if they are taking action, they will quickly go and back them. So if you do that, now my penny take action be the hash that people understand you.
I get you.
Yeah,
I get you. You ever back now if you be deciding who you now come up. I mean call a Zoom na mene my favorite lawyer. Lawyer Raymond Bedema Endi and Komo and fire the latest fight. As I be PMUCs regards to a former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono assign High Court to also test the law again. Yendi hun komona fi yembra back here. So lawyer, if you hear me, good morning and welcome. Now let me ask this. I quite remember our last discussion. I did ask why the president took a decision to say that I am taking you off as Chief Justice. And then still taking you off the bench of Supreme Court, and the answer was not too clear with all of us. Now today, the former Chief Justice now comes back to challenge the removal as a Justice of the Supreme Court by President John Dramani Mahama. What's your take on that?
Well, good morning, and then good morning to our cherished viewers. It is always a pleasure to be on your August show. I believe that this is a place where we can educate. This is where we can actually think law. But for the purposes of the fact that the case is still pending at the Supreme Court, we may not be able to go into the merit of it, but we shall try as much as we can to talk to the facts and then the law. Then we will leave our audience actually to be the ultimate judges of the matter. Yeah. So, if you read Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution, if you indulge me, I'll just read the preamble here. It says, removal of justices of Superior Court and chairman of Regional Tribunal. And this is Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution, and that is the provision that was used for the removal of the Chief Justice. Now let us take our viewers through what that provision is, then we will be able to juxtapose without necessarily going to the merit of it. Now, Article 146 clause 1 states, a justice of the superior court or a chairman of regional tribunal shall not be removed from office except for stated misbehavior or incompetence or on ground of inability to perform the functions of his office arising from infirmity of body or mind. So, clause 1 seeks to tell us grounds upon which a justice of a superior court will be removed. Clause 2 states that a justice of a superior court of judicature or a chairman of regional tribunal may only be removed in accordance with the procedure specified in this article. So 2 tells us the procedure to be adopted in removing a justice of the superior court of judicature. 3, if the president receives a petition for removal of a justice of a superior court other than the chief justice, or for the removal of the chairman of the regional tribunal, he shall refer the petition to the chief justice, who shall determine whether there is a prima facie case. Now, you realize that here there is a bit of distinction as to what will happen if it is a justice of a superior court and if it is the CJ, who is the head of the judiciary. And I think in the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution, this is so that it will prevent, as the case may be, a Chief Justice being a judge in his own court. Because if it is the removal of the Chief Justice himself or herself, and again we are supposed to allow that Chief Justice to determine the prima facie case, then it means we may be allowing her to be the judge in her own court. And that is why I think the framers have actually separated. When it is about the removal of the Chief Justice, then the matter should be referred to what? Council of what? State.
Oh, okay. So clearly, there's some form of understanding with the law, because we even heard when you the lawyers met Ghana Bar Association, your boss or your head was saying that we need some form of more clarity when it comes to the Article 146 and all. But clearly, whatever you read, makes meaning to all of us. But then, why would we then continue to see Chief Justice still calling for such a thing to be done, now saying that the president even lacks the power to remove a justice of the Supreme Court from office, except the removal is in accordance with Article 146 of the Constitution? Are we not confused as we the citizens?
Kojo, this is the beauty of law. This is the beauty of law. And this, when it gets to this stage, this is where, for me, I am so happy, because we are presented with yet another opportunity for the Supreme Court to bring clarity to the ambiguity that is in that provision. Because by reading the provision, you will appreciate that, or one will come to a conclusion that the same procedure that is used to be to remove justice of a superior court is the same procedure that should be used in removing the CJ. And so for you and I will only think that the moment you are removed as CJ, you should also go out of what the bench. So there is actually no clarity if you read the provision that way, because and one of the reasons why one can go to court to seek clarification or interpretation of the Constitution is where two litigants place different interpretation to a provision in the Constitution.
And in this case, it is the Chief Justice herself, or former Chief Justice herself, and I'm still emphasizing Chief Justice herself is the one seeking clarity on this one.
Yes, the former Chief Justice is also a citizen of this country, and if she felt in her opinion that there is lacuna, there is ambiguity in the law, it is within her right to actually protect the sanctity of the law by seeking interpretation, so that going forward it will be clear for everybody. And again, I mentioned, I I mentioned time without number on this show that Chief Justice, the one that has been removed, ought to wait. And after the removal, if we realize that there are certain ambiguity or there are certain maybe infractions in the law, then you can seek redress. And the Constitution is very robust in this case, where it has provided for mechanism for which those things will be done. Like the procedure she's taking, absolutely right. That is the review jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. It is only the Supreme Court that had the review jurisdiction. And so, again, I think that she's using the right channels as provided for under the Constitution. And so you and I, we can only wait to see the pronouncement of the Supreme Court, because the Constitution is not very clear as to whether the removal of the Chief Justice will also be the removal of her or him totally from the bench. But come to think of it, because the qualification for the appointment of a Chief Justice is the same as the qualification of appointment of a person to the Superior Court of Judicature. Look at this analysis. If you before you can be qualified as Chief Justice, you must first and foremost be qualified to be the Justice of Superior Court of Judicature. Now, it means that vis-a-vis the law, the Chief Justice and you should be qualified to be a Justice of the Superior Court before you can be Chief Justice. So now, if it is determined, like in her case, where she has been shown or has been seen to be unqualified to occupy the highest position of CJ, then I am thinking if that person can now occupy the position of what? Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature. And this is where I think that, again, if she goes to court after the pronouncement, we will have a clarity of it. Because for me, as a lawyer, I don't know how it will be, whether it will be right for somebody who is not qualified to be CJ should be qualified to be the Justice of a Superior Court of Judicature.
Larry Raymond, somebody was asking me, I think within a week or last week, thereabout. The issue was this. I mean, why are lawyers and judges, playing with us with the same laws that they themselves supervised that this law is good? The same people come back to now contest the same law that they supervised that we should have in our Constitution. Why are the lawyers and the judges doing this to us? I mean, this is a street one, but it makes sense to the ordinary Ghanaian asking some questions of this nature.
I think that is for the collective good of a nation like Ghana. Mind you, if you read the case of Tufo vs. Attorney General, SOA JSC stated clearly that constitution like ours is not an ordinary act of parliament. It embodies the will of the people, the aspiration of the people, and that we need to see it as a living organism capable of growth and development. So it means that at the time of framing this constitution, circumstances that were prevailing are not the same as the circumstances that are prevailing today. And that is why if we construe the constitution as a static body, that we must always construe it to reflect the circumstances that were prevailing at the time of framing this constitution, then we will have it wrong. And that is why the constitution has inbuilt a mechanism where at any point in time, we will have the opportunity to interpret the constitution to reflect, the social circumstances of the time. And again, that case again, we say that we should not interpret the constitution as using any indoctrinal approach. Like this is a doctrine of interpretation of the constitution. We must interpret the constitution liberally and using a benevolent approach. So at any point in time, in the interpretation journey of the constitution, we must interpret the constitution to meet the aspiration of the people of Ghana.
Lawyer, in running up, tell us, now that the Article 146, Ghana Bar Association feels or knows very well that it is not really shaped well, we now find our former Chief Justice going to court on that same Article 146. what should the country do? I mean, with this Article 146 before it gives us another issues altogether? Because now I don't know to what end will this happen for our former Chief Justice still seeking what the Article 146 means to what the decision that has been taken against her. What should we do as a country?
There has always been a clarion call on the fact that we need to change some of the things in the constitution. And I think when this administration came, they have actually commissioned a committee that seek to see if there are some changes and calling for lawyers and all meaning people of Ghana to bring suggestions as to what they think should be changed in the constitution. So again, I think that we have come far. This is a document that was made some 30 years ago. So you don't think that it will still be as good as today. But the only problem is that so long as this has been the law and nothing has changed about it, it remains the laws of this country. And that is the only unfortunate thing, that somebody may think that, okay, maybe someone is being used or somebody is being removed using the law that we think need to be changed. I think these are steps that would have taken long ago, so we wouldn't have been where we are today. But once those steps are not taken, what we can say, or as a lawyer, what I can say is that we need to take steps, immediate steps, as a matter of urgency, so that these things that are amended to reflect the current position of the law.
Because indeed, before you even go, this same law, as we're talking about, that it has too many loopholes and all that, is the same law that we're going to use. Because I have heard and I've seen chairman of the NDC calling for the removal of the EC. I mean, there are petitions that are going, and we're still going to use the same Article 146 in doing that. So for me, if we don't, do it early, and we see it being used on another entity on its own, how are we going to, help the country as a whole?
But like I said earlier on, until it is done, we have is the supreme law of the land. So yes, until those things are done, what we have is the supreme law of the land.
Okay. Thank you so much for talking to us and giving us further and better particulars about it. Quick one before you move again. We heard yesterday that movement for change, the movement headed by Alan Kojo Preko the movement sent a petition to OSP in connection with the former first vice president now contesting as the MPP flag bearer with regards to some 300 pickups. He, the former former vice president, said that he procured for the party during election campaign times and all that. I don't know whether you've heard about it. What's your take on that?
I think I saw it on one of the news headlines, and in every democratic dispensation, it is important for people to be accountable for their stewardship. And so, yes, we are not saying, or nobody will say that he has stolen any money, but he should be able to show how the source of his money. And this is provided for by the law. That whatever, sometimes even if you receive certain amount of money above certain threshold in your account, you are called for to come and explain the source of that money and whether or not. And sometimes it is not just to say that they want to arrest anybody. They also want to say if you are complying with tax. Have you paid the relevant taxes on the money? If it is from business, if it is from investment, if it is from employment. Yes, if truly it is from those ends, have you paid taxes on those monies? It is also one way of saying that, okay, look, if you are, it is from investment, pay tax on it. If it is from education, pay tax on it. Or maybe you have gone to do some work somewhere, you are being paid, you should be able to pay tax on it. So for me, again, I think that if truly someone has bought about 300 pickups for his political party, and he has founded and there is a clarion call again for there to be a law where we should know where political parties are getting monies that they use in funding their political activities. It is important because this will, I think in the recent time, there was a news item where the chairman of the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of NDC, there was one Singaporean saying that the chairman has come for, I think that matter is also in court. So it is important for us as a nation to know the sources of what funds that are used in championing the political activities. It is very important. So for me, this call is a clarion call, and I think that we must all support it. We will have a law that will seek to regulate. Otherwise, somebody will go behind the doors, this on a very lighter note, to sell this just to come and then his political activity. So it is important as a country, we need to put stops to this kind of stuff.
But lawyer, I have listed almost about 4 acts that speaks to issues of this nature. One that I see here is the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 959, checking some of these things. We have Political Parties Act 2000, Act 574. We have Anti-Money Laundering Act 1960, Act 29. We have Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921. I mean, there's a whole lot of acts, there's a whole lot of laws that really positions us to be checking some of these things. And we are still, asking ourselves that we need certain laws or certain positions or pillars to really check some of these things.
Kojo, it's true. It's true. We may have plethora of laws that seek to do the same thing. But you see, some of the laws we may not be calling for a new law altogether, but it may be an amendment of the existing law to reflect what actually is the problem of the day. Why are laws made? Laws are made to, as it were, solve problems. Right? Or laws, maybe there may be a lacuna somewhere, and we have identified that. Do we have a law that will cure that? If no, we just have to amend it. So if in the laws that are existing, we don't have any specific provision that seek to talk to the political funding, the sources of political funding and all those kind of stuffs, then we need to amend the law to reflect that, so that at the end of the day, we are able to see. And if you see the petitioners, they have also cited these laws that you have mentioned. And they think that that is why they are even invoking the jurisdiction of the Office of the Special Prosecutor to actually invite and also try to see what was the source of the money that was used in purchasing those vans. So that at the end of the day, we are able to bring these menace of money laundering to an end. We may not be able to eliminate it totally, but at least we should be able to minimize it to the minimum.
Yeah, thank you. But before you leave, on a lighter note, I should have asked my CEO, who is equally a lawyer, lawyer Stephen Kessben. But you guys keep giving us one nice phrase. I don't know whether it's a word or a phrase that I need to, but what really it is. I mean, too many people don't really get it. I hear seshurarai. It's nice. It's a nice phrase that we keep hearing. But what is that? Seshurarai. What was that?
It's actually a remedy in court. Normally, that is available if you go for a review, if you invoke the review jurisdiction of either the High Court or the Supreme Court, so that they will quash a decision of a body or a lower adjudicating body. So, for instance, a High Court sit in Accra and make a decision that is in error of law on the face of the ruling or judgment, or the judge has actually overstepped his jurisdiction. They all have jurisdiction. So maybe the judge do not have a jurisdiction, but he has gone outside or in excess of the jurisdiction that is allowed to him. Then a party who is aggrieved in that case may go to Supreme Court, invoking the supervisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to quash that decision. And the remedy there is what we call certiorari.
Lawyers.
We have more. Yes, we have more of them. We have Shoshorarai, we have Mandemus, we have prohibition, co-waranto, and so on and so forth.
What
And they are all
co-warantus?
remedies. Co-waranto,
And that means
to maintain the status quo.
hey, lawyers in the bravo. Lawyer, thank you so much for talking to us, right?
Thank you for having me.
And that's lawyer Raymond Bidema or lecturer one of the universities concerning Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono, former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono, a case no de court and what you and ana yesian 31 minutes past the hour of 8 media domain so for Kojo Preko Dankwah Kessben TV and I will share my watching about a TV in so and I would see more radio so a 92.9 mema watching set what they were feeding so at one main yimfi yen twaso na yendi nkomo ne hwede ekoso ewo oman ni maranche abrantie nana frimpon ziga betna se otanase podida na yede ziga steak no abro brought to you by Doc Activated Charcoal, DOK Doc Activated Charcoal, and also the Nadia Abani take on matters affecting the nation, and also the Nadia Babaran no making count text messages in Ibakum Yunafe. We head straight into imbus na kwaji pumudin and yama abasisia. But my main share Masawood the messenger or the abba from Bantama or say the front of the late Asante Hima is not only being an avenue for showcasing Ashanti culture and tradition, but also to witness remarkable displays of traditional spiritual powers. May her gentle so rest in peace. Regards to Honorable Sampine, National First Vice Chairman, hopeful, and then Dr. Baumia still maintain or no Nidia or the Ebayan and then teacher constitution. Or say a call on JDM to resign due to Ghana's struggle under NDC leadership. If not, I will organize protests to highlight their failures. Can NDC point out one successful policy initiative? Okay. The NDC's incompetence in evidence in the rising cost of living and lack of job opportunities. The empty promises have left Ghanaians disillusioned and frustrated. Greetings to Mavis in Kansa Bodu, JFK, Koka, and Mr. Usu Bempancha, so MPP chairman, hopeful. Or the Eba, and let me read Eben, now femini imboost for ND and Comoin. Now, Eben from Kwabenya says, why are we allowing some few greedy bastards to destroy our water bodies in the name of doing galamsey for their keep? I think the government has hit hard on them, period. Greetings to TDC boss Courage McAfee, Nenokpeku, Mr. Akwesi Mensa of PSC, Tema Shipyard, and then Honorable MC Agbo of Ga East, Onosonedia or the Ebaye no. More than I can in and test space, finding number making kind in among, but then couldn't come on, and I am check your pum with the na yemboy home by near any imbust for ending combone. We are Zigger Stick brought to you by Doc Activated Charcoal, Ebeto Samai.
Medafo me de wadru sharp herbs biaya ye imboost herbal mixture police ni na dro no ename ne wo behwe senti etwa se wo de imboost herbal mixture eye wadru enne pa e wadru ni mu enne niema papa se obinom imboost herbal mixture onya medafo se ka imboost herbal mixture se de wate dada no eye police ni no adru no edro eye police ni o ye memu heya na nyame nam ne so a ode edro ya bedwa so e wodwa so dada ada a chese yeguso a ye nom a eboa ye ma ye ni aduano kwamo no enya ahoden na ene ye hwe ne pa ewo imboost herbal mixture mu police ni na draw imboost herbal mixture wa ye no odi no bna ehahama enua hini ena odi aye na ahwe adre se de brand ne sitie na eye unique kra edanso na enya brand ne keke content na ewo mu no eno nso ye different eyi ne ho apue na eyi ne ho asinchen aka ebedro kaye bia aka ho eno nti se upia bonten na se wokọ herbal shop license chemical shop pharmacy bia mu na okope ebibidro mapa ebetimi aboa mu atimi ako edi onyare wanyina so nkunimu a menhwe dro bia se imboost herbal mixture police ni no edro no sei enete me pa cha won saka bia kapo ketua bi hyeso ubie so na wo hyeki ni wi akapo ketua na hyeso no obenum tu anopa ansa na wadidi awiaso wadidi awie obenum tu enwumra a wo kwakoda no wanum tu edro yi ra wo ni padua mu a eba beboa nkwam a ewo ni padua no me kire immune system no na enya ahoden mapa na atimi aboa wo ni padua no na dwumaso a nyankopon nyansa ne ni nipa yomu obo nkwam ne de ma ni padua no se enima no sa dwumaso no enkwam na atimi edi ama ni padua no edro yi ye di nubrane hahama na aye na nubrane hahama ne natural spices ide aye no ekura properties bebree ekura phytochemical compounds bebree a eboa ni padua no apomden ma ne timi ekonanim properties ameka ho asemu ebi ne saponis ebi ye tannis afensu ebi ye flavonoids ebi ye carotenoids ena alkaloids ne de keka ho bebree a mintumi ye brani timi fa ne nyina entudwa na nam se ebrani sa na dodo akonya ba akofo ntena so nchenti ena me no be ka mienu ho asem ye fa saponis eye property a ewo imbustable mixture mu a obi a wodi police ni na dro imbustable mixture ne be ye na edro no saponis na ewo mu nti fat entimi enya nika ewo ni paduanim me kire srade eno nti se wutie me ne na se woni paduanim ayedu embroso wankasa wonante a obre wonante a ase wo te so utumu se ni paduane emu ayedu wa ye kese embroso a imbustable mixture na ye kanfo di amawo saponis na ewo mu no sa woto imbust no na wo sheki na wo se bibi ba ni bubbles bi ba ni mu se ehoro bi saa no aha eno ena ekọ wo shifat ni nyina efri ni paduanim edi amawo eno ewia na nwieye afe ekohwe aboa na wo sugar a ekọ ni paduanim enuane a ye di starchy foods a ye di ani end product eye sugar anase glucose no ekoboa anormalize sugar level no edi amawo me kire se esikyira aboroso wo ni paduanim no ebete na kofom kra wa wo di aboroso na wa wo di aboroso so a control no asiese no di ama se de be ya emoroso nkofa ohaw ana oye na bi enfamre o afe ewia hwe se cholesterol aboroso wo ni paduamu aya ss no ebete so edi ama o medofo enye no nkwana so ye breniti ye nko tannis enso so yi tannis so ye property bia ewo nipa ewo imbust mu ase wura ni paduani mu a ekoye osi akwan ama bacteria virus germs infections a omu wura ni ye ni padua mu a omu kwasesa yare ahodo de breye no eno na tannis na ewo imbustable mixture mu no ekohwe na aye osi akwan aseti barriers ama wo se de be ya wo pia bonten na se wo de wonsa so ne ma bi mu ana wudi nuane bi na se kwa akofa ohaw bi ana wo ye na bi e de abrewa tannis na ewo imbust mu no ebe ye osi akwan amasa ne oma ne nyinam afa tannis ninti wonum imbustable mixture ye police ni na duro no oni akomayade eni twaka kra kyese akomayade entumi emben wo heart attack bia entumi emben wo eboa siesie akoma no mani tumi ye atwuma ye afen so ehwe ema moje wo nipaduani mu no etimi di afusane ye ebi ana wutie me na kakra bia wo na etitiriti onsa etitiriti moja ni ntumi ndi afusane ye amo akoma bo periperi ama pressure no kra ekosoro dodo ana ati abafom sese hypertension no abasa ne wo betena enu ti doctor amu waduro se no maduro no nefa control no me pacho imbustable mixture wo betimi anoma ka ho ebesiesie wo ni padua no na control ne di ama wo nipa bebre na anom imbustable mixture no pressure no ewo soro pa nanso nei odi adanse se eduro no aboa no afen so ebia na wutie me na cancer kra na etete wo me ka carotenoids eho asem eno so boa wo na ewo cancer eno ti se wo nom imbustable mixture hunu se sa carotenoid na ewo mu nti no ma cancer emba wo ni padua nim enye no nko me dafo wutie me se ye fa imbust ho bonuses na se mfa so dia yenya ewo ni padua nim a edoso obi o hono mo se me didi wi ana me bo ehyehye me ana se aduane to me yam a me ntumi kra imbustable mixture ne be siesie di ama wo imbust ne de enka wo se abusua bia enya bisi ne fie bra yare achi mpofiri mu so na wo be ko hospital ana yare achi hu kani ana se wo dofo bi na wo pese wo de no ko hospital no wo de wo imbust ne bia fa na bie so ne di kan ma ne binom ansakra na modru hospital ho se imbust serve as first aid e de ama wo abusua na de biara da otumu se yare ene moto nkwanta amapai yare nta amemu imbustable mixture boy general body pains free ni padua mu me kire police ni na do no an obi mu bisa say adai edro no eye painkiller na wonnom a eyi yawo nyina say ye adwumaden na woye say ye fom dwuma e na woye say woye mesini woye driver ni woye gya ho adwuma woye oba wo market kodi dwa wo honom obeba na honam nyina ya wo ya edro imbustable Mr. na ebeboa wo na menua ba eboa wa yi yawo no na menstrual pains any menstrual disorders so wo di ni sunkunim eno nti wo baby or menstrual pains or menstrual disorders a ye kanfo police ni na dro imbustable Mr. no ena di amano afen so ebeboa asiesie wo maaye mu no se bia infection bi ehinta wo baby candidiasis mi kire odepoa ehinta wo baby a ebesiesie nu anase nsuo biara enya nika nanso eba efri wo nipadua ni mu ba ekofo how edebre wo no imbust ne beboa eyi ni nyina afri ho be ma wo hwe me imbustable Mr. ebeboa ama mensem so akonanim a wo how bia eni akire sa wo to imbustable Mr. se wo no mo amedofo eye du papa ebeboa wo na o how bia nim sanse yankasa ne edua ye nubena no wo ko ti regional hahama ne nubena no ya gi asase yantam wo ho eni afa akuafo aguso ye ne o makasa se mamo fa chemical bia nka asase no ne mpo akopɛ se eduro no enu nti ye ndro beba ye de be fa mfidie mu a ye behwehwe mu no na kyese bibia eye krogen na eduro ne be agya so enam se ye papa nti adansie bebre na ewo ho
eduro ne ye papa asa me ko pedwe me 20 nya me menses enye yi
sa
me body ne enye yi
okay
ba me to eduro no me kunu so ma me de bia me no no ni bia me sorry me ko pedwe me new system so aye kama me menses so aye kama
ban so me net no bo so me so ana menses na say ba no ma be even 5 days no na be 3 days pe na atwa be ma nye do mbi ko na no so kra no mbi no e ma kwa na we ba be 5 days no mind me ne say do no mum de no kra ni e de nyame asase nyankopon ayadom na edu ba tan say be pe kro man we mu na e boa fofofo na ye nya mu anwodi nya accident e koda trafaga almost 3 months me na ibubuye e ma da de shimu enti na pensa na e wo ho a meti no police ni aduru no mo tobre me amenom ye no first one no de na menti pensa no biem the second one at times going on amenom police ni aduru na wo me nan no na ma wo se me nan na fe de me hu sa kira bi on nan no so ta nan mu ye omo yo me pressure so ta nan mu enti me no police ni aduru na fe ma wo se nan no asase ye de etwe enti aduru no de eye me manum bi anase oba bi ye o ya honam ya hono de me de no na esa me yare ma me edi se ka ye camera kra metimi ayi ba bi amenya accident no e de akira tiefo na omo so ahwe na omo de aduru no adanse akira mansan
adanse atwa agu nyina eye imbustable Mr. Police ni nadro ho adanse enkwano no wote ho ye dai tutumri kasesi a na ewura herbal shop license chemical shop na kope imbustable Mr. nanom na wonom a afe apomudin abusuakuo imbust no wa beka ho wo beka apomudin abusuakuo no ho a de biara da utimu se woni padua no enya apomudin mapa oni yade tonkwanta mapai ye numbers na gu screen so no frey asem bi a kire wadwen no brane ne ye meka ho asem ana se frey na bisa ye kope imbust to no.
All right, 43 minutes past the hour of 8 imbust and I know AD and common meba na fi ne Ziga atwaso on Ziga stick, but this one coming from the man Joseph from Kochi. Or said Chief Justice should accept and stay home. I am Dagbon Joseph Kofi from Kochi, and a message way so buy. And then some of the text messages that I hear, me has me can be Amma or say please I am Nana Kwame. I really okay. What do you mean to me? And kind of see Emma and you know keep bringing them making kind in Amma Ziga steak and I do so Siciano Ziga Atanas into your fashion so now fi yen ko ye name ye babaka. Ye ne a movement for change in paying for bidding come na ya share their cost so petition on come OSP no ye bidding home come and then other matters ahead of us in no ye bidding in a home come a Kessben Maakye so Ziga morning bibia boko there
yeah nyako pardon bibia boko
boss nice yes oh radio dom yes you hu pa bibia e koyi nkakrakra mai mo say and then 5 p.m. ho Ashanti region, right?
Yeah, 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Is it 5 p.m. could see
the following day?
The following day, and not past 6 one.
Okay. Say, Mamre Mono. See, could see or Hene, and I saw him. And you will be a
okay.
It's only the befa from free, baby, yadedano, to the Royal Cemetery for Bremen.
Okay.
Yes. Into honey at the Nebeko. It's at the befa from so a new class will be a
okay.
Sanity. It's normally quite and town fan and fat car bev the animal, soldier for any police, beddy the animal, escort in his but. And yes, something that memory moons here the far from the called Bremen. So that is that. It is so biada in order to say, and you'll be essential workers.
Yes.
Like a hospital, pharmacy,
one driver for Baye Juma.
No, I driver for within work.
Because as a MTC as a driver for so can one Baye Juma also.
If you drive a Juma, it means that people should be
in the car.
You make what I say. But essential workers. So you know, mama notice in about 2 weeks, and you know it. It will be programming on where pharmacy. Can we say na me kobo nights? Me call on I wouldn't come out. Say me ko mi nyaka. So the bitch, mi nyaka.
And you tumna da wom.
We be programming on let's say be about 24 hours. And
okay.
It was just a yikeke. A mamra yeshemu kena.
No, but it's interesting. Yesterday, some of the news that I was listening to, and yet the main funeral, but there are side issues which are very relevant to us. Now in the afternoon, I heard say, Oko KGTR, marketing people were buying stuff, free stuff.
Yeah. Just like when we are about to hit
exactly
the lockdown.
Yes.
Like
I say Sunday see what I mean the way amount for a boo alcohol no more to Tony
Central Market,
yes.
Asafo Market, KPD, Bantama, Staffo. Business is booming.
Yeah.
Because we are basa so many inflate normal sa anti. Omo yes na say ye the kakra sa na say ade achi so
no. But one day somebody can cash in, right? Just some few hours.
You can because say it's a rush hour.
Yeah.
I go to omo yes na say ye ka 5 by 2 p.m. you wouldn't see anybody. 3 p.m. you wouldn't see anybody. Obi kura nkwa adwuma kra. Obi kura timi ka say especially the private sector no otimika say and me mamo meduma be catch and nkora because e bia onim say bia obi beba na kora bi beba wa krase wo be aduma so ne bia obe kofie ye jane so kofie aba 1 pm no be kwa kofa ba bi ne be kwa kofa problem ba just a day do timi sacrifice say mama kra eti bia wo betena fie no bia na wo need food staff so the bichi money sanoma wo ka wo agudem no what the tv ni so you better have to arm yourself.
Yes, schools in Nyajuma.
Yes, schools in Nyajuma.
It is here a VIP Nyajuma. Enko Kumase Basses, no.
Debbie, because back when they see no, I made them who be no. What happened is the VIP
basses. I see VIP Nyajuma.
No, they were not. They were not working.
Wow.
Because all bet discharge. Ubi trema, bet discharge ubi Kumase, and the person has to walk. Ubi bet me, ubi beshiano the. Traditional military nubishian and from our Bradford, executioners. And we should not take it for a joke. Don't say that Ghana ya power. You will be a man. No. You get me? And when you read Article 11, Clause 3 of the Ghana Constitution, it talks about the customary law. We say our customary law here, Juma, and the customary law can be applied. It's applicable to your community. Applicable to our community. It was bia customary laws no say ya ware say ya shemra e yo hene na shemra it was applicable to the community so ti niga betimi aka say na me pese ye prapra dum ye be ye homo it ma obia mpia bonti MBA store applicable to the community when chima hene say ye ba na otweda no from anopa 6 to 10 don't go beyond 10 a.m. Esa meme ya chudebia a year than wa we wanchini biano a monsa man more 100 Ghana cedis. You get me? No applicable to the community. Eti kotokwahine applicable to the community and where the kingdom no stretch to Bono East Ahafo part of Eastern region, part of Central region, Oti region. The American what I say, baby a stretch kubiano. We come here to Kumasi Nkwa, so Kumasi Nkwa, but sometimes no, say be only papa say or pay homage to or him and why is Adam.
Ziga way a traditional state of emergency one.
Traditional lockdown.
Traditional lockdown.
They were saying say lockdown.
Yeah.
You see, Alaji Bature.
Yes,
na me
the
fa
late,
crazy.
yeah.
What can be maybe or say ahemfo no. In fact, ahemfo. And we use Otumfuo as an example. We say Otumfuo has the power than the president. Because I would say President Mahama, President Kufuor, time a lockdown by him. Or could you to me say or person lock this country do share them? One fanano ne kind because he's a president. The 55 no man say or you're president of Ghana. I have affairs of BBR. But no need to me. He had to go to parliament to see for imposition of restriction law.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And a man to me, a man yes I do. But Otumfuo does not need. And it's not Otumfuo alone. Or BBR does not need power from parliament. Say Obeka se memre ni so. They make what I say. So I they have a specific power be and I say power be show mumua.
Yeah, like for instance saying say my banner show.
My banner show.
Say me macro no subi.
Me macro no subi. You can take it to court by I'm telling you. Ebia confront the door you one rule and at the end na constitute you lie bad. O the opa maniga catch us ye hia wa. Anything that dine someone say me prediasa. We can't afford the chair and anan matran kunya e woga. Yes, massa men see chrome web you. What do we kind of kobu kotoje patcho? So the bichi. E obi ti say mianka seminia Papa Nico. We are evangelist, near in the sports. Say me no case we big time evangelist. E onungwa side obi. O preach or top radio. Anope bia. Wako ka sembi di farm. O mani twadwan. Because komo banish no. Your money twadwan sofu mu awu. O twadwan cash na. Obeye. Situation will compel you to do it because one ya yes we assassin so president cannot do anything. Constitution because they cannot guarantee your safety. It is a good thing and brass some sentiment near catcher will say you are being banished. Don't go and quote constitution. Wow. The framers of the constitution they were clever to the extent say they realized I have funny deal so and sana kwasi the democracy rule ever.
Yeah.
Yentimin do away with ahemfo thoroughly. That is why they were given a certain powers to chiefs. Everything now kind 3 na make na 11 clause 3 na make na. Eno no ma ahemfo to me momu di asem. It was hini di asem wa parliament. Sorry. Na yi na himfie. We di asem ni wi a e bowa otima police me echo. O hini timi order ma police echo. But president cannot order for arrest.
Yeah.
President call for investigation, but it doesn't call for arrest. But me cause you arrest.
They're very powerful.
They are very powerful people.
Very, very powerful.
Yeah. It's a Kuapem Mahine. There was this festival coming on. And I was here discharging firearms.
Yeah.
And I was a festival here discharging firearms. He said that look. But say nobody should dare. So Arms and Ammunition Commission and gradually it is stretching to all the communities.
Yes.
Our festival.
Yeah.
They have started banning firearms. You get me? And go hey. Me say me no. At that particular day no. Who your police ni kra no say conform bar. It tells you something. You cannot discharge firearms at that particular day.
I think even Ohima the committee say Omoka say may use any bullets, live bullets.
Yes.
I think it's a statement, right? On firearms and live bullets. Just as you say.
Don't fire.
Yes, and right. Yes.
Don't fire. Be the quiet door. My question don't fire. They make what I say. And go for pra any idea. Make I say we were doing the digest then. You're calling somebody from Osumanche in the office. He said that look, this is the plan that's going on. So they have what it takes to obey emra on our community. So Alaji Bature said that look, they are powerful. Wow. So if say you crowd mu here, a bit me am. I mean, me say ba koto asem on. Ni edi asem wan fie. Na jasi hini bi ekura bi ase o. Me ni Ali Baba na koye. Jasi Hinibi was interrogating man engineer. Now, or Chrisameno, my goodness. I said, look, see a day, Sanko Fum, if you allow them to go to parliament, they can do better. So if you allow them, say we have cross examination akwane ye no to say yes unimude one cabrofo but na anoshi. You get me? So let us pay homage to them.
Okay.
Yes.
Definitely.
Ko England o mama mro tontwene Brazil amamre na mo maye giant ewo.
Yes.
Your friend say South America.
Yes.
You get me?
Meba mamemfa Ebo Backman on leading member of the movement for change. Omo issue na faka homa me because won komodi ye pa ene na ye no enkomo na yembra back. This has to do with petitioner ono Solomon yenia Solomon Owusu emo ede akọ OSP efa ora Dr. Baumia ho ene the entire movement for change ko ni nyina ana ejine mu a omode sa petition e ko mo nchechire mu yie exactly why enti a omode sa petition no akodan OSP se onhwehwem efa tro na pick up bia ora Dr. Baumia akokoka se otoye emma party for campaign and all that on chechire mu ye na yehu senior city na questions bi wo so a ye de asoso Rebel Backman good morning na bibia boko de megiri ye say ohun ye that my the overview of the whole thing, why the need for a movement for change at the petition be called OSP.
That's it. And I pay my minchia Obibia Rosho and I pay no tier and I pay. Now let me make this point clear there. This is not something that came from the movement for change. Or yeah, petitioner Ami Solomon Owusu na Pierre Dankwah, lawyer Pierre Dankwah. You presented a petition in our capacity as Ghanaians. So we are not representing movement for change. And as Ghanaians, you know, you won't conde say Bibi Kodo or money muna ye huni ye oche and adwin. Na yesu there. Ebiana onye enembra bra ono obehia de ebutu ha no man na yakwohwehwe maaze ntina oye Dr. Baumia nankasa nenu masam obaka there in the lead up to the 2024 elections, you know, or top 400 pickups or the man or your party, no. I mean, James is there, behind him, the vice president is there. What's a region or public knowledge? Now, if you're a sitting vice president, so to top pickups and also or mobilize pickups 300. Now, Pokada you're over 300. Actually, it raises some questions, sir. I said, Ibisa. The Sika, Unya is a Todamazino. Unya no him. One or tray man. One or sponsor. Because Ghana, Yanambra, that is your political parties campaigning. Utsia, the Ozikan, Ebama foreign be. Obi on Ghana or sponsor young political activities. 2, say area campaign as you rate KBR. Also to me disclose Sikani Yano at the Nazi account for Sikano. Main the source, even the amount involved, you know. Or yen constitution and other laws, or the accountability yazu here more money papa. It's on the basis of Nankasa more kind. And at the two Nankasa Nakuti or Juan, no chede say as in 8 years or vice presidency, no other ones, no in Nakuti in other boom. And that time we a bank of Ghana in Nakuti and Poso when zippy crampo when zippo womb, na say also the Mazion to Montotam cash the dono. And also they be said baby. Onye sika or to them pickups, you know. It's a legitimate question. I'm used every Ghanaian biala. Also do say because sending you there as a crap or say or man Ghana on corruption. The corruption soon extra yin na yitua to de aban fan ye dwuma na fi obahwe na sika yitua eto no anabo se oman kwa kwabo no wekuzi bi no nkotokum. These are some of the nzamanzama of the corruption ba, because so be no to come on nipa ko no say you mean power as it your back nipa ko no fi himfa sika no or legitimate money ana ebiana ofi kro bi do a ikro no pe bibi waye wa Ghana ha if they can buy the campaign for you to win, then they can have their control. You are in there some of the elections also we as you always say drug dealers no was sponsor even galamsey so was sponsor. We want to know the source, and it is nothing. It's not as if we are saying there nankasa na some okay no nankasa we don't have to prove anything in court or even before the OSP, because yazi petition look on we added the video and nankasa ne no masam okay the auto 300 pickup. So for me that is the most important thing, that nankasa ne no masam no na ye there on children. You should go further to tell us baby only sikan the train or kabi mi poka wanu po yan capture us there since MPP shas in 1992 sika otumi rezi Ozuma party in 2024 elections no obi an rezi bi in the history of the party before, which is also another important issue to look at. Or sika no ya hin onye no himfa, but on we didn't petition on the amount sika okay no, we petition only on the over 300 pickups now. So I think there it will be in the interest of every Ghanaian. So out, not so better, because when he becomes president, as Obaya Oman Penina, yes, on manage a position in Abashanensa. Yes, on monitoring in Abashanensa. So it is only fair there at this stage, Yabama accountable to us there. 300 pickups account for them. So that say in your confidence, say or you can also account for young resources, because accountability is very important. It is the cornerstone, one of the cornerstones of our democracy. That in Penyinfo the two mohono, also the wobun apunta or the Chilean. Anuna Igina Dwa Yazi the Master Crop. And let me say this, that we are not going to end at a special prosecutor. We are going to also petition Yoko, FIC, and Attorney General, because issues no raise, or your broader issue will be fall under Yoko, will be fall under FIC and all that. And see, we just want our democracy to work. Because if you go to America, if you raise money to do campaign in America, you account for every city you raised. To the extent there, every dollar you raised. To the extent there, so even as $1 as your personal BBR, as it to BB no one can use personal impact, you can go to jail for that. Because the laws work. We should make our laws work so that politicians will not take advantage of that political party financing. No one could Jessica will be one over or more on contract. Contracting also 5 cities now in 20 cities, so that they can pay the person back. What was Sebi or here BB or Ghana, Nessa Oninsanka, or could be the margin of financer, then they will have control, a certain level of control over us. And see, these issues are, if there is a Ghana Nibiala or Ghana no, or support young call in action you're taking, because it's for the good of our democracy, it's for the good of the country.
Backman, what raise very pertinent issues that we really will have to deal with on this matter, especially because when I saw a petition where you have quoted 4 of the laws of this country, Special Prosecutor Act 2017, the Act 959, Maakye Political Parties Act 2000, Act 574, Mankranso Anti-Money Laundering Act, Maakye Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, and all that. But maybe no so. But maybe just a clarification way. Is it that you are asking the OSP to look into a mobilization that was done by Dr. Bawumia and Nase bot? And I'm using these 2 words because you were using it intermittently. So I don't know which one the petition is asking the OSP to do. Whether you want to look out for Eye Ora Bawumia and mobilize na yakoto pickups and answer on one or say personally I bought a year over 300 pickups so that we can continue the argument.
Yes, indeed, that is what makes it interesting, because then you have to show whether you bought it personally or people sponsored. If you bought it personally, that is where the issue of anti-money laundering issue comes in, because then unexplained worth comes in here. Because if your salary cannot buy what you have, then certainly you have issue with unexplained worth, which comes under anti-money laundering aid. But if he was also supported, according to political party, other laws, only declare, because you see, he was the sitting vice president at the time. That is what makes it more important for us. It's not as if he was a private person or something. He was the sitting vice president. You remember when Mr. Mahama was giving a Ford, whatever.
Yeah,
you know
Ford.
how. Yes, how that issue became a very important issue in this country for political discussion and for accountability issues.
Yes.
So if the same way somebody says, I mobilized, I gave the party 300 pickups, then if you gave the party 300 pickups, tell us whether you bought it yourself or you had it from somewhere. If you had it from somewhere, where did you get them from? How did you get them? You see, these are pertinent questions, sir. I believe there. So now to answering Nala correctly, I think it will also be a feather in his cap as a politician. Then people can trust him, because as I said, the most important thing is that he's contesting to become the number one man in this country, where in whose domain all the powers and the resources of this country will reside.
People have said, people have said, this issue that Makwako Rizia Bano, Ebeke Kwa Mamwanka Sakrano, Mufi Kran, Ebe Hajune Kakraisa, and say, mobilization of funds in getting political parties run and all that, easy. We know how the politicians do their work. For instance, we even saying political parties should declare their fundraising sources and all that, of which we see clearly say so is it a fact that a certain political party, or probably your own movement for change led by Ora Lanchimaten, Obiena no enka say wajeje eye anas wa mobilize anas wa to eye cast way anas bia enema way ama eye movement for for change aye adwuma, we cannot hold him accountable to anything, but yet we know very well that these are some of the things that these politicians do. Me sure so what say Yebeka say musumu fie sanema we in BPA or
no, you see, don't you think it would be good for this country if every political leader becomes accountable to us?
It's very true.
So Obisu there, Mr. Alan Chamanton has questions to answer. The person can easily go to whatever the authority or the body that the person feels they're petitioning. So we are not by this saying there, so Obi will issue be against any person race. We are not afraid that Mr. Alan Chamanton will be probed or will be called to answer questions. No. You see, democracy must work. Democracy must benefit the people. Democracy should not only benefit politicians. So if say young people there, it can hurt our democracy. As a citizen of Ghana, what is required of you to do as a citizen there? People raise damn issue, and that's exactly what we have done. Dr. Baumia, until he said that, you see, because we know political parties, individual pick up a room for your campaign from Azamo. So we know a lot of issues go up. What all that we are saying is that the pickups are still being used in the constituencies. So the point is, where did you get the money to buy them, or where did you get them from? These are the questions. We are not afraid that Mr. Alan Chamanton will also be called to answer questions. We are not afraid. But it is good for Ghana if that happens. So that moving forward, politicians will be careful.
Okay.
Because, as I said, corruption has been the bane of our development.
Okay.
And normally, corruption was sort of.
Okay.
Yes.
But before you leave us, how do you respond to this one? This one is coming from Razak Kojo Preko or that UP Tradition Institute. Now, this is what he wrote on the Facebook page. I just want to read very short so you can respond to it now. The way for us. Say, joke of the century. When exactly did Parliament enact Ghana's political financing laws? Apart from Political Parties Act 2000, Act 574, do we even have any law regulating political financing in Ghana? Certainly not. Where did Alan Chomatin get money to acquire vehicles for Movement for Change during the 2024 general elections? Solomon Owusu has demonstrated that speaking English is not, and not in capital letters, not equivalent to wisdom and intelligence. Solomon should get himself updated with Political Parties Act 2000, Act 574. How do you respond to this?
It's funny, isn't it? Now, Kojo Preko, you see the law. What does he even know? Or he thinks by writing English means you are also a sensible person. So what Solomon has done, he should be applauded for taking that bold decision in the name of accountability. Solomon didn't do that, and as we didn't do that because he hates Obi, because we love Ghana. It is not for him, Kojo Preko, whatever, to say that we don't have laws to manage our political party. That would be a very serious statement to make. It means in Ghana, it is free for all. It's like we're an animal kingdom. But we have laws to govern all these things. So you rather should go and learn properly and come out again. Because, and as you rightly said, we quoted or we referenced the necessary laws in this country. So we are not just some dumb people like some of them are who feel there because of the fact that they can write English, they can do whatever, then they can come out to say anything. In fact, me, myself, Solomon Owusu, and Maakye Dankwah should be applauded because what we are doing is going to generate a lot of conversation about political party financing, how politicians are able to loot this country to finance their political machinery. And it is hurting our country. Look at it. CDD says it will take about $200 million for somebody to become president.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Yet, if you go to our villages, children are drinking water with cows. With cows. If you go to our hospitals, children are being born and on what the phone, what we want to phone. Go to our schools, our children are writing on their belly with the phone. No, what's wrong? And we think we shouldn't talk. We shouldn't make things right in this country. We should allow politicians to continue to do whatever they like in the name of whatever partisan politics. So that guy should rather go back, Razak Kojo Preko or whoever, should rather go back and think properly as a Ghanaian. He should rethink as a Ghanaian and begin to love this country more than any political party. We have chosen that we love this country more than any political party. That is why when we're doing, even if Mr. Lechamati will also have to answer questions, he has to answer those questions. Anyone who is connected or who will be will be petitioned against, that person should be able to answer the questions. And that's exactly what we've done. And so the Kojo Preko should rather come and go and learn properly and come back. Not to say that Solomon Owusu speaking English is not equivalent to wisdom. Is he wise? What he wrote, did you see any wisdom in what he said? What Kojo Preko said, did you see any wisdom in it? That is stupidity to say that a country like Ghana, we don't have any law governing our political party campaign. So people can do whatever they like and go scot-free.
I know she won't to mean you so West Visa. I mean, it's too high.
But what he said against Solomon Owusu, you read it. You read it for people to hear. So that's why I've also said for people to hear that what he did rather epitomizes stupidity.
Backman, fancy. We'll come back. I mean, when OSP raises the issue, and then maybe the response from Ora, Dr. Baumia, and also the bar. Then we can have another, good, case to deal with. Into the I see people say when you edin come up, that's it.
It is good for democracy, my brother.
But that's a Ora Backman Ebo or a leading member a movement for change. Omonomode and Kratakwa dying OSP. Say the Ekoswono with Dr. Baumia and the 300 pickups or say what Tony Nano the idea o mitrim bra na betrim na yemehe de airco. Mame kwa humana says 9:15 in there your extension to Mamusru ye nibedin come up if you open your fee call ye na yakwa kwhwe de ekoso ewo ho no ntino mamunsu ebedi nkomo ye pa mame kwa homa so na mene the MP for Hohoi Ora Thomas and the Honorable Thomas Walanyo Chekpo, if I'm right with the name, Endi Nkomo Yendi Nkomo Emfa enye bia ekoso within the NDC. Now the chairman of the NDC say thank you to. Now, we all heard it in the media. I mean, when the timetable was started for Eastern region. Now, the Ekuinano, Yehu, the Esene, the Fata. Then, late afternoon yesterday, we saw Yenya Bema Ras Mubarak at the Beto Jose, the chairman, Epeso Oyeno, Enye Kwan Paso, or the Eko ASR thank you to. But within the late afternoon and evening, then I saw a wonderful article coming from Yenya Bema, and I said, the Honorable Thomas Walanyo Honom talking to Ora Ras Mubarak with regards to the air cost one. But again, any new common on Chichimuye and my whether the thank you talk in itself now, chairman, General Mosquito Air Conocrano, if it's necessary, and I have to so no response no demand Ora Ras Mubarak no at saying, Honorable, Memoachin Eba KSbenMaakye so.
Menya bidase.
Bijiri is when nemu de bibia eboko.
Nyamia domo ne mompa bibia boko. Nyami gusu ehweye. Aban papa so gusu ejuma. Anti Ghana for Kessben for Kramani ajesin yakora.
Saon. Aban papa ejuma on.
Aban papa ejuma. Like really obia oya MPP ni. Awa hu se niam bi nye wa MPP no. Awa mo free mu na no ya no. Ovum and o supply pickups no. Wa hu se also because as vice president we pay and 50,000 Ghana cedis. You have 500 million OCDs. Then ultimately I see 300 pickups at the chair party. On one case I see what two. So say on one case for because I buy no money is very transparent. And I will share my cost to say the economy no see then echo obi ani ajimia adwuma ketinke kakra kra ba within 7 months. I will be ahead then guys, many are kwan ya shasi. Almost before mobile lunch at the end of the Koran. No Mugusu or Muyami Kwan, Mikwaya or Majatu or Yan and non pencil. Abedrune, Eastern Corridor Road, I family Kurum, Hohwe. I had a major trunk road. Omujatu Hormone, or Mashasi or Muyading, or Muya within this year, or maybe even significant. In Koran school fees are adding, yet year, a Momu free university for I your Momu free. Many obi and Robert Kojo Preko say Aban Papa ending and my because a more you turn one back then you over and one you turn be you turn be 5 million.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
I go so boy.
Amen. Yeah, the radiasi enkoso sa so ma Ghana fo nyina. But na bo yenko o party ni many internal issues APM sisia. One has to do with the chairman wanting to announce Obabeko thank you to na ordain the program abetu jana the same party another former parliamentarian so ejinem say it is not proper. I mean, clearly tell us. Thank you to. Is this something that the NDC you are used to?
Minia Basanda was in my Sanchia, what for? And yet MP, you know, only a former MP.
Yes, former MP, sorry, yes.
Now, thank you, Todd, dear political party, Pia, you know, my election, Kora Mariano, Omugusu, Omuko, thank you, Todd. Nti at the body be but person correctly I be say problem be any NDC
near me, and betray no, any near, you will respond, any problem, and problem be any honor. And I drink and all the day, or the buyer. So she should say, in Kayesi, the name is I was thinking, saying, or bet free, and I said, or bet penny, or bet ordinary bank party, no, be some say, oh, say, listen, Kayesi, say, the whole national chairman ultimately be such a question outside. If any problem should be cast a problem or NDC problem be any home. Now, as I'm responding because as a former regional youth organizer, I know the structure of the party. As a former youth organizer, regional youth organizer for Bono, sending a party here then a function. The party cannot be different from government. The government, and as a government ban as a amount for our concentration on government so Juma, party no does not cease to operate. And none MPP for Korea party no good them. Say Omama government near then a control party no, party no like the party be government no like party near then function. That is not what happens in the party NDC. Government in function as a party no so like in 40 media anymore. Intra papa say omocha minister onje fifi koti or the office organizer or the office say there be a party in the function. So okay 2024 your campaign team miensa president here, vice president here, and a national campaign. If the president in the vice omo be form government I Ghana man omo call national thank you to party no ankasa as a party I NDC party can't you come what can call President Mama the government on call thank you to but we no party ankasa chairman no leading and I'm promise say nkofo America home say yeah omo chairman no ebe leading the party amama be down mwasi nti we enye bibia eye adiboni bia and na ni all kan nobody has declared any intention to contest for any position. Your Papa Julius Zebra also supporting him. Oh, yeah, me boss. On declare Babia so contested. I said in Ketia, our national chairman, on declare Babia so contested. I don't know Idrisu. Obia ni wa declare say already. Your intention na man for Mudi or Maakye then from man or Muye then or move. It is say you're winning, that's your power. That's the party feels. The party feels say Ghana for us in a special way because in Ghana for Yama, only say bro again so.
Yes, I
more
do.
than 2/3.
I do, but honorable, if clearly a man for no mokekan, which I want to put it in one word, a perception that is being put out there, say Obi Peso Kujina and all that. But why would the chairman of the party want to then deepen that perception? Say
no. I about deepening perception. I idea party I decided any chairman into share we no kura only say vice chairman ka ho. Turn now we your papa ekono. Only say vice chairman e ka ho. But only say before chairman be no 3 months ago only say national organizer.
Yes.
National organizer Honorable Joseph Yamin and Mustafa Bandi deputy general secretary. Only say mo call round e ko da Ghana party for.
Yes.
I'm go around because that time no almost your meeting no there then I'm go around. Why is it that one didn't become an issue? I'm by a voter region, a bahokwe, a manami won't be. Na me conscience ko na ka kan ma we me thank you to. Me we am chairman and a council of elders. Almost over heading eba be go around. We say the more we get in touch with the grassroots, the more we encourage them. One of some president, Asemu Eto grassroots Nakumaso. Or say appointment amount for because no be an appointment. But more mania see no omunya botre na omutan beden everybody. It resonated with the grassroots. It way any campaign at India and he is the chairman of the party until the party decides. So they take decision in the interest of the party. Obi ani one more then the chairman say Nketia Kona so can be so contest here. The party can suspend him. The party can suspend him. I'm saying this as a former NEC member, immediate past NEC member, National Executive Committee member, as a regional youth organizer. I know how Yembrano Eyejuma.
Okay.
Nobody should fear problem be any party. Once say you are MPP for, but be once because some party ni go into say no some things BBC na some here. No mo yede omo yede say a problem or party problem be any party no. Me we are Rosu Maraki. Me ni kasa e kwan na wo tu kwan.
Okay.
Oh, me no na ye wo your friend say your company ma your papa aseni kesi as national chairman.
Very well.
It is a time no soon na say oh say na say wala just any problem but time no soon here.
Very well.
Time no soon here.
Very well.
Aseni kesi on campaign so kwa chairman. Julius Zebra enko your friend is saying work so kwa president Dabi. Nyomo ye no in the interest of the party. Okay. So they will keep the party alive while government is operating. Because we concentrating on government. That's why I'm sure party knows why. Over 3 years, over go back to this is the time for them to know say you winning power.
Okay.
You don't forget you.
All right.
No, I encourage you. Okay. Then you see you assess that is how we run the party. Maybe I'll have to call him and talk to him and say that is how we run a party because I have run a party before as a youth organizer. Party executive near papa nasi. So be a man so say bibi
okay, all right. Honorable, you better sepane a explanation how which much Ghana for any party for teaching na yet as a pa.
But Ghana, yeah, as a government we are concentrated on seeing say Niamamu be kama ama Ghana for and yeah politics and kitty we are MPP for taking interest in it. We are focused in managing this country to the interest of every single Ghanaian, not only those who voted for us, but everybody part of the 32 or 35 billion Ghanaians are the what is here.
Yes, yeah, that's Honorable Thomas Walanyo Chekpo and I no Edin Common MP for Ho Hohoi and no Edin Common Ziga afi yanko na yenhwe Ziga stake na yehu de echo and it have been na and then what's in some and then what's in some
there make us NDC for adi e sinan PPD no
sana hu no
we say honeymoon da so it hu ni sana but I'm telling you we be hu asen PPD no that's more back it on the they be cancel pa tell you Abrante no ne Kojo Preko Razak and di Mamenya correction. When you
Backman, right?
Yes, on your Kojo Preko Razak. Or your doctor Kojo Preko Razak, the PhD now. Or your lecturer. He came out with academics to argue with you, but you don't insult. It's totally as no kind of no. Wanya dear back to insult your colleague, politician, or challenge. Bia na se bia o bia wadwunu mi se seni eko o da bia na bia mra ni seni okay di ntina bia ye kwa court ni be kase but you don't use insulting words and from such a person that is wrong na bosti Ura Solomon Usu former NPP member and our movement for change
yes
we are Ghana ni Emrama no ho kwan se obi ye bibi wo this country na ntwa yi a wodi nipa no se ofiri se obetimi a petition na odi aba the OSP the OSP pay their mandate no ebe hwe ade no say follow within their jurisdiction they will take up the matter they make an answer say Solomon Usu Ghana ni mapa otu qualify se no ba bi nkoso enkoso yi a wodi nipa no or the year better way. That's fine. But you see, minima the quantia or yes, I do we see. Diedikai say, well, yes, Sadi will say because of the tax aspect in what anymore. And I said, Dr. Baumia as a vice president at that time, no, and he found no konya sikani free, just like Yinipanakano. Well, yes, say, so a person was Ginny Ding. Well, yes, Sadi way. Say oye a citizen vigilante and that's what yes sadie we say me dogan ntina me yes sadie na a branding crabia and a betchere me meti anu minim and now say they are doing this to black spot the spotless white robe of Dr. Baumia. I yente no ho asem da. Efa corruption ne sa no ma we say. Wo yes sadi we say just to dent his image. Wo yes sadi we say for the international community, international press like a BBC, Voice of Africa, Deutsche Welle Africa, that the CNN will capture, not echo the whole world. Yes, a former vice president of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, and the investigation. A be no person will achieve that publicity, no publication, no, a be a person will achieve. I don't know. The American what I say, but the minimum say, I know 3 characters in the Ghana politics. When you read Ghana politics, 3 characters. I'm giving you just 3 characters in the Ghana politics. People created heroes out of nothing, and it made them. Sure. We were made to understand that in 1950, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was arrested. Say yes, or yeah, positive action. Disturbing the nation. Positive action campaign. Yes, so we incited the public service against the then colonial rulers. And yet, no kokoshe jail almost 1 year. You are meant to understand, say, baby, I didn't kokoshe. A boy, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Tell you, Emma, nipa amoyi orchestrate sade no. Ono ane nkofo ano mo UGCC. Ote no ho conform the party. Adenti na no mo yesa. When you read books, Professor Akila Pasoya, the speech, I'll make it one of the Nkrumah's day, made us to understand, say, na any bread. So, many bread Dr. Nkrumah, say, yen ya kofa would free, and you buy, say, believe ye as a general secretary, you copy to me. I feel what to oh bad the bay, and I want to abet to me, Diamae. Oh bad the bay, and I want to abet independence, Diamae. Oh bad the bay, Tina, Koya, ni bread. Dear Tosu Biam, your rock coming pianim. 1996 NPP for Babeko primaries. The same primaries. And on one Kasatian you, Nipa ne contesting in Ano. No beer would din, but no person or did dancing or beer. And you contracted the woman called Rosemary Equam. Some men sat down fanning court. Near quite clear and say, what trust or pursue to a buying good pain, you're charging the treason pain, President Rollins time. Because that Rollins among the pardon. And to know free say your open new chapter, Fourth Republic, it is sad the treason wouldn't stand. It was one of my men didn't call court. Send your buyer when we see a clarity, Supreme Court no, ebe clear no, ebe kase, assembly has no substance. Nanka ya exonerated no, a basana bane be popular than any other artist in the contest. And on why yes, I don't, and I'm radical born. I'm running born umpoye kotwabano. Na still no ya popular say President Kufo. He achieved it. Can crunchy Eddie President Mahama court. Eko seeking for interpretation of Article 66, clause 1 and 2. Say, President Mahama knew who quite so bet me a contest him as a president. Now, Article 66, let's say, you can only contest whereby you are sitting president. Tell you. And a President Mahama Saji ex gratia. So, onu who quite so Saji another ex gratia. Supreme Court to abay a unit to be. Yes, you share when you say. And people for an shake and crunchy, yes, I don't know. No musro Mahama and a crack. No musro Mahama. So it could be any bread. It could be your fan say a slow and no musro Dr. Baumia. I'm not campaigning for him, but it's a fact, it's a real. Because Seko BBC say former vice president and the investigation about me. What make you think? What make you think? Say, Ochama Buaji. So, Ochama, the late Ochama Buaji, former Bantama constituency member of parliament. Our organic credit union. Etimi facilitate cotton buses. Evan type buses, 2M Express. Ejananam Toma Kuma 180. What do you make say? What do you think he say? a vice president of Ghana, why you finna say deputy governor of Bank of Ghana, I am vice president 8 years, cannot facilitate 300 buses. What make you think that? And the number of Guinea say, your friend say, John Dumelo. And the number of Guinea say, John Dumelo. One Jacapia, everything raised $300,000, over $300,000, almost $400,000. Eddie, Ghana for supporters are called Brazil, so I'm going now Dr. Baumia, why vice president for 8 good years, want me raise the fund and taught 300 buses. I don't get it. I don't get it. Where Mr. Freddie Blay will be a lawyer, our own newspaper. Na Jumani so tongue, your friend say, Daily Guide newspaper. Na Jumano no, where your lawyer plus Daily Guide newspaper was able to raise a loan, procure a loan from UMB Bank to buy 270 buses for New Patriotic Party. Now Dr. Baumiana, why running mate for 3 consecutive elections, vice president for 8 good years, why deputy Bank of Ghana, Yabafana Diako Zimbabwe, Okuta International, Yafane say, connections, exposure. Dr. Baumian, enun to me, and procure, and facilitate, and my LPP for 300 buses. I don't get it. Chebia, o person who can different thing. This is a pure hate. This is totally unnecessary. I'm telling you. What we are doing to people is not good. We should tell them they are Ghanaians, but you see Bibia on the boundaries. I'm telling you. Roland Chamatin or launching 1 Ghana city. 1 Ghana city loan or say what do resist Kadiama New Patriotic Party go ahead the amount now co-op. Say if say Sekini a vote no Amana 2023 money by a flag bearer. Sikana co-op was even more than $200 million. 1 Ghana city no say Obiatua 1 Ghana city and no launch a man kwame na who they do. Why do we have to do this? I don't get it. Contest in the Yako.
But I no could declare.
No, sir. Or launch 2023. So now, or say, Obey president, or launch in the echo.
Yes.
Obey president, you will do more. So it was something that was doing to woo the NPP delegates.
Yeah, but my point is, after launching the 1 Ghana City project, did we know how much we
didn't even know?
So the declaration of it,
I did not hear anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So they did to Dr. Nkrumah because they are who UGCC for no money brain Nkrumah. Ebi no more than Dr. Baumiano. They did to President Mahama. Because the NPP first front President Mahama, the American watcher say they do the same to Dr. Mabudu Baumia. We have to be very careful.
Very interesting.
Yeah, we have to be very careful. Baby, push no. We need to be very careful the way I am in this country.
Doc activated Chaco.
And this one will catapult and shoot Dr. Baumia ahead of all of them. That is that.
Doc activated Chaco and I did a year's stake, Ebrena Doc said.
Na me peso obi be kwa kwatre baby akasa na from Posiga campaign ma Dr. Baumia.
That.
When President Mahama can crunch, unu say can crunch one men kasa up to now.
Sir.
Oh, ye free cast as me say nyere. What the president can kumase sad beg bi wa ha. Na me da so ka. Say ade na wo ye no, it was totally unnecessary. I felt friend crowd on fa. Ye ni na e ka bi ma President Mahama, e do Dr. Baumia ho e beka. This is the waste of time. This is waste of energy. This is waste of resources. This is waste of breath. Call it Dr. Baumia say, your friend say, or he found on sika kokoto, 300 buses. It's the waste of time, waste of energy, waste of resources, waste of money. Don't activate Chaco Pada. Yabama Dr. Kojo Preko Dankwah, Yabama Niama Papa na no did not.
Ebo Backman.
Also, Madame for Pano, no. Uncle Bob Michao. And I for Pano, I can say Michao. Yeah. Heartburns, I was so. One knows how the heartburns, no. What you have to say, oh, heartburns. A 2 drobia, I as a white. I the BSU, I as syrup be a white. A buy and one would be now what off from Debbie. Sheni, a baka of my area, the amount. ɛsɛ sɛ wohia doc activated charcoal powder ne ɛbɛkɔ akɔtu aseɛ ɛde ama doc activated charcoal powder doc activated charcoal powder obi a acid reflux acid reflux ama attack okon wonda okon so ti de bia na akon ye oya ama udidi anadunti no de bia okasa na eboba acid reflux ahwe bekwa kofa problem e dia brew unya doc activated charcoal powder na awura wo yam na apam gas ni na indigestion bloated stomach and as a gas abejira wo yam a unya doc activated charcoal powder ewura wo yam na aditozekel na ma bibia wo yam bia enye obade na de ka ho bia no saa de ni na no a flashing out e de akọ e de amam bia stomach ulcer e wo so ulcer hoduo bia wo wiase bia no doc activated charcoal powder e betu ase e de amam o pese wo se ya white pa ni wanum ye hwam a doc activated charcoal powder no obeda odi vi odi de chu katrema so di chu simia fa chu katrema so saa onu be ye white kama e be hwam kama na mo wo pese o se ye white pa enkotua sika 5000 efa nkosha machine mu e be enye mfa ma wunya doc activated charcoal powder u ba paste awie no na de abo brush abom udu twi saa 3 days e be se fita white and ye doc activated charcoal powder e de bedu wasem e de amount na pimples na wo so na rashes na wo so no susu stranku susu yusu e fe de say a powder fast system susu yusu semina eno no deal with the cause not the symptoms enu hunamani awo yam entina ade no ko anko no doc activated charcoal powder ewura mu a editozeko a ebema saade ni na akọ eye 100% natural herbal and ye dia number ni 0598 20 6885 0598 20 6885 and 020 661 22 sorry 020 661 6820 020 661 6620 and 059 820 6885 059 820 6885 Adiya Pharmacy Okumase Life Pharmacy su Okumase Lansa Chemist ne Kolonak omuni na Okumase ubenya biato ho Nana Boache tema ubenya biato mensa otakwa the Life Pharmacy Okoforudia Ekus Pharmacy wa Shaman and our Dama Pharmacy su wa Shaman and our pharmacy bia wo okanshi ubenya biato doc activated charcoal powder yebi nanu bi
yeah, that's 9:42 is the time. Answer na meko ahoma no sisia no mame mbonito na fe yemra back yani atokwa na bedi nkomo sisia wo eye menhia bra mame kan cho se Kaibo group of companies mame kan cho se wo wutu kwan na ukọ eye instrahwe anaso se ukakosua de na mo na so ko pe adwuma bi yeso a oni omo endi enkomo na eno ho adwuma eno mo eye enti no visa ho nsem nyina na eye akwantu ho nsem nyina no oni omo enhia na oni omo endi nkomo afeso no wa wo pe eye genuine cars fi eye Japan eba padia na one Kaibo group of companies endi enkomo enfa ho na obenya cars papa mamu pebi so atono so no omo flexible payment plan emamu nyina eno ntine menstru to anamon na ko na one Kaibo fo nkodi enkomo mo wanya market deeper life junction honom enomo wo from on 0556 735 422 and answer 0556 702834 na onyomo endi enkomo saso na Bayport Financial Service I mean control say guswa eye fixed deposit no eno ntino ukra 10,000 Ghana cedis am no kasa CCA na opese onya ho mo ho a me pacho onyomo enkodi enkomo yie pa 10,000 cedis no the mom afi ba ko benya 1,750 Ghana cedis saso na ukra 20,000 Ghana cedis busumi nsia what the mom obenya 1,570 Ghana cedis ewo eye usika no so 1,000 okra 50,000 na ode mo ma fe ba ko a wonsa beka 8,750 Ghana cedis 1,000 okra 100,000 Ghana cedis a obenya 17,500 Ghana cedis afe ba ko na ode mo a obetumi anya sa mfaso no ewo usika no so Flora Boni ana se Mr. Bono ne manager wo eye Bayport Financial Services oni no endi enkomo na munkodi sa adwuma we 0245 153 283 0245 153 283 and that's a 020 412 5878 na onyomo endi enkomo pains ne de nyankoye edo ntine nyankoye ne de eye tablet na obenom but me say tablets ni jai na kope ahonka heat patch na fatare eye bibia pain no eye wo ya no we enye ding okoto patch ni bi ewo eye pharmacy bia na ode tare eye pain na how na say menstrual cramps say arthritis say muscle pain ne nyina no ode tare so a pain no ebeko me nada a very scientific almost no pain in 2025 and beyond opa bi atopan dia yenko eye origin chemist Art Pharma, DM Sphere, Sap Health, Ewon Kraha, Okokumasi so ye Danny Pharma, Alpha Duo, Panacea Pharmacy, na feso kofrede Gapson Pharmacy, Eastern Chemist, and afeso Tamale eye Malarigo Pharmacy, Takrade Buakwa Pharmacy na feso Knock Chemist. Ma mo pesa mo ye regional distributors no, mo number ni, mo fret na mo kwaja humka hit patch ni bi, na mo for topa 0599 802 297 and that's 0248 50 9003 and that's 0536 645 334. Ahunka hit patch or say feel heat no 9:45 is the time. I mean call ahumano so na me name your correspondent Washanti region atokamena ending komo menshia sisi ameno ekase no my up to date what is really happening where ye menshia sisi regards to total lockdown babe baswo no synchronity meniziga hu edi hu komo ye pa yenhwe what is really happening when it comes to chrome at the sense sisi why din and also say same pa and ekwato matching eba Kessben matches so
yeah ni abla kojo
bibia bokore
Kojo na kupa daruma motia papa na moswe
Erade adom yeguso nkakrakra na menizike di nkomo na mesi mi bisa se menka ne say traditional state emergency state of emergency na esi ana say edian and what is really happening where Ashanti region to precise Kumase sa bria meno ka say
we go dey for na Asante holiday.
Oh okay, nice one, nice one.
Asante holiday and me say kunu iwula obanso kasa twase obia de adwuma tafa pepe na ekoso o Asante matem ya.
Nice one. And me share your screen so I think I've seen office your office na wo Ashanti region no Aseda house right me hu ekwan no me hu shops no sisi me show TV so mo Facebook no mo ko Kessben TV and I say Kessben 92.9 mo share what is really happening ato baby ayedin o
oh baby I 30 baby I 30 na
a shops ni atutum no
anya shop no obna shop na ne Kumasi nyina
neti mesi na didi
no aye bi
mesi na didi
e kura e kuma shi na kwa didi man sha ba kwa che no ma ye dwane o nti puje bi didi ye kura no ye chiri dum ye nya hwe anto de kuma sha ko bi no da
enti ayi ye friend is saying STC e chiri honom no bia ne ye ton fufuo ma me ne o de saying STC e chiri hono oba ya enti oba ya ama
Debo ama. Eno bi ama.
Ana yasewa wo hu.
Obi ama, obi na obai.
Ono so ama.
Obi na obai. Debo bi ama.
Eh.
Dawo jo na obi mo.
Da bi atu ene de ehu.
Ana critical. Na you.
But atu say eba ni say ya omuso mu saying e wo ya Ashanti region Kumasi muso mu saying.
Yo, Dr. Jumbedase. Sani ni mono, nana Fredu Yadom, Fantihima, not yeno. Kumasi traditional, and Kumasi traditional council, I am for none when you had between and say, the baby should nama kumako, and na yadi, Yama Medoti yeno. In Jubasha, a 50 day one in Nano, the Yoma Omobai, and the twins, you Omobai, and the Tresono, you Omo Omobai, and the yet da, Ikatwo. And any die ikatwo ene emuniema no such like akra ewum because omon pese de bia na nipa bebre na beba appreciate no and I say nipa bebre na be frefra no omo yine de so de ama president ama emu empenimfo ene former president ahodo a omo so atwam no ene sa nipa we ne ahwe mo ni so meba menhia ene wo former vice president ne wo vice president a omo so atwam ene wo man empenimfo ahodo diplomatic course for penifo ahodo no na o ma say bie dia to e dia ma tumamfo nyina obi biala ene o pese oba mo be hwe Asante hema enimu bia no e kwan da wo sese enipa we betumi aba mo be hwe imame enim na ene no eda no sonko because penifo no say efiti ebe no miensa ne no nan ekọ no omo bekurusu na omo kurusu a na efi no so ekọ no ye de maame be fa no edna firi manhia ne edna twam ewadum ne edna besin akọ bantima edna kọ bantima ne asa de nafiro edna kọ breman na akọpa no edna kọ ekura na akọpa no kura bre na saa ebre na mpenifo se nam se omo mpese obia bedwuntwa omo akwa community no efisa ebia no saa bre no ede kọ no obia hyedem obia ena ema obia MP efise abrafo no eche se eba se de abrowa ekọ ekura we bi be hye ne kwan mu bia no ade a abrafo no omati okra de afinsim ana se ometwa weti efise saa bre na cheto aya aswoden di ese aboa agide se openimu jadu afda edinsuo ena de freman doso ndo bi pia da obaya aswoden o saa bre ne bia no saa ne pani hyewa ebaje okra na se betwa weti de afuonti ni kwa se obia epie na obetwantwa en nanom akwam na amamle ne amane ese efata no omtumi eye na enam se edwa ahodo nso e wasante mantem ya no eyina no eye asante hema de aninti no omo ye se dwedifu dwedni pia oto ade bia no ema obia ma bonten na ometo ade enam so ma pai ato machini pa be ko bantem adwum e ko wese ho se ne hotie na obem ko di bantem adwum no na stores wo nyina no atoto ni nyina mu obia ne ho enu achie no ko discourse ko wese discourse nso dwedifu ne ba e wo ho no ebi bai na se edi ama obia ko du wo no so na ho nso aka aye ennuenua nko na se apata nko na sisi wo stores wo nyina no obia atotum enu achi na no chire mu eba eye kumasi edum ifa sta house wo stores wo nyina no etwa mu eba ba bia mekom ewo enu achi no etwa mu ko ponko run about inye ba bia business run about ewo no ekwohwe se ho so na wotie ba me ko na che se kumasi edum so no ho ene stores wo nyina ya totu nyina mu basa ya ton nnuane ahodo obia ama obia totu din nyina mu enu achi na metwa mu ba Hello FM kwatempon mu hode senka do na pasi anka afa bonkum eni nimfa kamano ka sai enka ekwan mo biti pa nya asem kotwa na so be mbedi wo no kedini ba hokura eni wo sidi enim se eni amba na omodi ade sesefom na omodi mo force egos no ene ba hokura eni wo metwa mu egodu eye babi akura to force tutu ne honyin esi no hode enka do na pa kanya asem kotwa kabodo na ke pai tek ne bodo ye pai ahodo atonsu agogo ene saa miamia ni nyina no ene mkodu ko hwese nyambia no saa de we ekoso ana na so kodu wo no obi biara ni wo ene hyenkafo a omo abonten a omo ye adwuma no kakra bi omo lodu akwata sema so ene santase ene kakra bi na wa abonten a omo ye adwuma omo company se enimpa omo mo frifie ede baaye no komo nso ko mbedu edwom no obenya nipa ni bi na ka omo de amaso wachi akofie na so ade a omo cast no esi abonten omo nyobia ema no enfo nti obisa me a esisaya nananum edigu dwa omo de tu dwa se ema obi emie store no stores no obi emie schools ahodo a wasante mantemia no obi enu a okoe aso na banks ahodo a eno so ewo edum ene ne potem no dey ni me say regional minister ne mpeni de babonti say banks dey won kwan say obetumi ababonti na nga oba ye wadwuma na so ye bank na oba only customers ana say dwedifo na eba bedi edwa na dwedifo ya mabedi dwa obi enu oba ye impo so bi wo achiri na opese oba bonti kura na because of the nanam kan nti nipa no wa ama nti ene banks ahodo na no bebre na mi ko Ghana Commercial Bank o ma mi NIB because o ma mi banks ahodo e wadumia no obi enu a ebie ye because obi a why na eba nti obisa me a saa na meka se ekoso e wo ha sei nti ene no menhia e hwada ne butu enu ase ahemfo ahodo Council of State ahodo aman ahodo amo ahemfo ni mpinifo ahodo na nyina mu nyina eba ye no ebi free nkran ebi free tamale ebi free voter aman mu mpinifo ni nyina aba ya ombechia eye kuga nti obisa me a ye meka se esi wasante mantemia no ene ye menhia ye hwese omampini enkwasa beba onso bechia e242 to smini du bisa me a de beka na se krumi ade bibi wone bi ansi nemum hyehyɛ mpanimfoɔ de gu hɔ no ɔmo nyinaa temanfoɔ nyinaa no obiara de ɛyɛ adwuma na wohyia abɔnten a wonam abɔnten a wonhyia obiara na ade baako a na pɛsɛ ka ho asɛm ɛyɛ abɔdamfoɔ a ɛwɔ abɔnten abɔdamfoɔ a na ɛwɔ abɔnten sɛ first nanka wobɛdu ɛyɛ baabi a pɔnkɔ runabout prisons runabout na ka abɛdu na abɔdamfoɔ no bɛmienu mmiɛnsa na nkɔmmɔ tete hɔ no momfa mo ho adwene baanapa yi yɛkɔdu hɔ no abɔdamfoɔ no baako koraa ne wɔ abɔnten wonhyia bɔdam ni baako koraa wɔ abɔnten sɛ abɔdamfoɔ no na ɔmatu ɔm ho fo na ɔmakɔpɛ baabi atere ho sɛ mpo ɔmabusuafoɔ na abɛfa ɔmo nyinaa de mafiri hɔ dɛ ɔmakɔkye baabi o sɛ mpo aman mu mpanimfoɔ bi dina kyɛ sɛ
ɔmo te kasa o anaa ɔmo mmɔdam saa o
ɛna abɔdamfoɔ no saa ɔmo sɛ ɔmo te kasa o ɔmo te kasa nti ɛna bɔdam ni baako koraa ni hɔ a ɔwɔ abɔnten yɛtɔ so mmienu ɛyɛ yɛ nnuanom a ɔmo nso sɛbe yɛfa mo tenkɛsi a ɔmo de yɛnim sɛ enubɔne no ɔmo sɛ de ɔmo num ɔmo nam abɔnten a adwaleɛ koraa ho ayɛ ɔmo de ɔmo nwale yi ɔmo ntadeɛ basa na ɔmo ho efi ne saa nneɛma basa yi yɛbaa kurom yi yɛnim sɛ nka ebi anka nepa yi ebi anka bi bɛgyina ɛyɛ bɔsɛ fim anim hɔ na nkɔ apaae tɛɛk
ana ɔde swam magazine
ɛna soabe magazine anapa yɛbɛdu hɔ no baako koraa ɛni hɔ yɛkɔdu bi a otumfoɔ hɔ nyini si no ɛhɔ du ɔmo pae adonso agogo abere yɛkɔdu hɔ no yɛn nnuanom tenkɛsi a agye kumase abɔso ɔmo kumase ɛntie yɛkɔdu wɔn nyinaa baako koraa ni hɔ nti anapa yi ɔmo mo twi ɛhyɛ na kasa na ɛpae ɔmo kaa na bambɔ ho sɛm so de ade a apagya wɔ santemantam ya ɛnam sɛ yɛatoto store mu sɛ yɛbia na obi di mmara bɛhyɛ ne nsɛm sɛ ɔbɛbu obi store ani wonam abɔnten a polisifoɔ ne nam mu sogyasfoɔ ne nam mu kemefoɔ nso ne nam mu a wɔn nyinaa ɛbɔ ban sɛ na bɛyɛ obi ntumi nsi akyiri na ɔmbɛbu obi store ani nti ebia obi ɛwɔ fie na ne yɛm hyehyɛ ne sɛ ebia ne store a watom no ebia na obi bɛdi amumuyɛsɛm a mɛka kyerɛ sɛ nipa ne sɛ ɔboa wontumi bɛdi amumuyɛsɛm bi wɔ ha fi sɛ mmara ɛyɛ adwuma woba na bɛyɛ fa polisifoɔ bɛkyew anaasɛ woyɛ korɔmfo na agye so bɛdi amumuyɛsɛm bi wɔ ha bamɔfoɔ wɔ ha ɔmo no bɛdi nti obiara ntu no fo nti bɛkodwo wobisa me a deɛ mɛtumi aka no
ate aseɛ bɛda ase mmerepɛ mu ne ɛbɛsan ba hɔ biom na yɛne wo adi nkɔmmɔ bɛda ase paa
all
right nti mo a mohwɛ ɛyɛ TV na afei so mo a mo ɛyɛ Kessben TV no wobɛhu sɛ we're giving you live coverage efi ɛyɛ menhyia na wohwɛ on your screens so sesia no mpɛmfo ɛkɔtena ase wohwɛ nhyehyɛ no wohwɛ how colorful ɛyɛ baby ɔmo yɛ program now to say bibia ɛkɔ yie wohu red carpet no kama because we dey kan catch say no presidents ne former president ne vice president former vice president mpanyinfoɔ ne nyinaa ɛwɔ hɔnom mehu hɔnom ayɛ clean pa me giri yɛ sɛ zoom line for just talk for na mo so mo fa na mo de gum zoom line for mo so mo de no keeping the place neat and afei so bibia ɛkɔ yie ɛwɔ hɔnom so just on your screens right now no ɛyɛ live coverage fi ɛyɛ menhyia palace ɛba ɛma also wohwɛ bi sisia no mmerepɛ mu no yɛbɛkɔ hɔ no right after ɛyɛ essbenMaakye ne yɛbɛkɔ live ne de ɛyɛ feed ne nyinaa ma nti no menkɔ baby we're going to be live on ɛyɛ Kessben Plus TV on your that channel and afei so Kessben TV ubeshwe ne nyinaa how tradition is being displayed by the Ashanti Kingdom and afei so deɛ ɛkɔ nyinaa ma me kan just say Eclipse Collateral Management say so wo eyen krata eda hono mo asabio onfanya hwe na eda adakam na ontumi enfanya adwuma no se fabra na onfanya adwuma emma na betumi aboa ama wo so enya kakra edidi isane se sabi se krata da ho na komoso do de omo enya ne sa omo de ye adwuma krogen emma na wo so wenya kakra na wo so ode aye ahwefie erunti no wajapade bi sa oni Eclipse Collateral Management for enkodi enkomo na ometumi aboa ye pa mo so mo hia collateral na mo de aye adwuma mo de akosi awawa na magye sika bi na sebe mo de akohye mo adwuma mu no na etumi atumpon no mo ne Eclipse Collateral Management for endi enkomo na ombetumi aboa o hwehwe mo kyi akwan o mo woye Adanta Barrier omo be Moses Hospital no anaso se West African SHS war no ehonoma na omo eben hwehwe mo so omo na ono mo di nkomo no from mo afre number we 054 383-2466 054-383-2466 na one paying for more Eclipse Collateral Management for ND and Common. Sasa na meka cho say only a DJ Fox on a Kessben Drive 4 to 6 p.m. and I feel so no only the man himself Capito and I say your friend is saying on Kessben traffic jam. Yes, only a omumi ni everything come Kessben traffic jam 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And only Captain Bio ebeshia eso wo honom. Na ye win big and a mega cash lucky box *426*6 hash *426*6 on all networks na yendi and komo almost say they will turn your traffic into cash na when ya kakra na wato yemilu na when ya kakra na wato drink na ne odu fi obo pepia na still fit to na ukona no obetia ne so daddy abo na say the other banner cash when you feel traffic you want wutie Kessben drive talk na face you know Kessben traffic jam no and no when you win up to almost about 500,000 Ghana cedis na fakufie na fakohwe fie *426*6 hash na also boss game bi na bibia betumi akoyie amount so and I make a choice say chepam say me kan choice say ntare no enya bibia kekewo na momu no o pestal papa o manaziu kama wesiesio ama bibia tumi akoyi ama pa de a na ye chepam ene se wonu no edi enkomo isan se chepam de say ya sorry say ye wedding say ye funu ye kra ye o menhie wontare papa obese o hye bia be fetu bia no ne nyina eye chepam ene betumi apempam ne nyina amawo ene ntine se wo edida so se opese wo baby na momu ni eye designer uni obi obepam wontare na ma ode a me kanfo eye chepam amaw na wotumi aboaw ama bibia tumi akoyie amaw kama chepam ewo eye awoshi market ohonom wonsa ebeka no friend on 020-683-7734 020-683-7734 na woni chepam endi enkomo chepam or see your custom tailoring and once and I know kind on 1 after 10 a.m. ewo eye Kessben 92.9 and I feel so Kessben TV so me catch you right after me, you know. Never come and share why. Happy birthday to you. Ebuakwa South Youth Organizer Nana Kweku Adomako NKA. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Ebuakwa South Youth Organizer Nana Kweku Adomako. Or your youth organizer the MPP. NK, happy birthday to you. And then a happy birthday to you, Akosia Yones, or your police officer, Ewo Bogoso. Happy birthday to you, police officer, Papa. Akosia Yones, happy birthday to you. And then a happy birthday to you, Rain Aduma Asari. Happy birthday to you. This one is coming from your auntie. Charity Vining, or say happy birthday to you, Rain Aduma Asari. Happy birthday to you. And then a happy birthday to you, Fifi Boabin Badin of Cosmopolitan Logistics or whatever. Happy birthday to you, Fifi. Happy birthday to you. And then a happy birthday to you, Mashal. Happy birthday to you, Mashal. Coming from your auntie. Summer official, happy birthday to you, Mashal. And then a happy birthday to you, Mr. Augustine Amankwa. Wave you hear Mrs. Eunice Amankwa Hono. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Augustine Amankwa. Wave you hear Mrs. Eunice Amankwa. 3 minutes past the hour of 10 a.m. Heavily produced by Richard Piassapon, Addison, Fifi, the man Amos, Eugene, and Kwekwana and Semeda Munina say, Medaya and Afrin Ponziga with the Ziga State. And our Facebook newspaper review no brought to you with Obapa Lamisi and our Facebook Derek Beffy. But I'm say we are back tomorrow morning. Same time. And in the week with the Friday class. Mijao in the hands of Mensia. Then question a tradition. Now if you see here the live on Air Kessben Plus TV on your Answer channel. And on Facebook Kessben TV 93.3 and 92.9. We'll give you all the live updates. And into the men baby cross 09. Nigel Popcorn. Here the Costo. Tradition at the best in the Ashanti region. But I'm have a wonderful day. Have a blast today. And I always say, I love you. Take care. And I will see you tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye. Good morning.